All right, everybody, shalom and welcome to the Yishai Fleischer Show, broadcasting live from Judea to the world. You're a part of it, wherever you are. So fun to be with you today. There's so much going on. There's a big Charlie Kirk memorial. The Australians, Canadians, and Brits are announcing recognition of Palestine. I think so is Portugal. So that's a problem. In the meantime, a lot of good things are happening today in the land of Israel. More Jewish people moving into the land of Israel and building. Today, I saw the Minister of the Minister of Defense came into the Tomb of the Patriarchs and Matriarchs in order to take more sovereignty away from the Waqf and to build the roof that has been waited for a long time. So a lot is happening, thank God, and we are in an excited mode. Let's start off the show today with a very exciting guest that we have, and that guest is somebody who reached out to me, and I'm very glad he did. His name is Michael Gamal, okay? Not Jamal, like I thought it would be, because the reason I thought that is because he is an Egyptian Copt or from Egyptian Copt family. Michael is 38 years old, born to a Coptic family in the USA. The Copts are the oldest Christians in the world. From Egypt, they're actually related to the original Egyptians, the ones that you read about in the Bible. He struggled with his identity in the USA. He felt isolated, and therefore he latched onto the pro-Palestine, pro-Hamas movement for nearly 20 years until he felt he had nearly sacrificed all his humanity and was reaching a point of no return in that abyss of darkness. After much research and reflection, today, Michael is a proud Zionist. Let's hear about that. He's committed to fighting the information war waged against Israel. So that is somebody who's definitely had a ride, and I'm very excited to have Michael on the show. Michael, shalom and welcome. Hello.
Shalom Aleichem and Shana Tova to you and your family. Thank you for having me.
Yes, Shana Tova to you. Look at your background there. You got the flag of Israel. You got David Friedman's One Jewish State. Okay, so
Yes.
lay it on the line. Today is a day where we have the Aussies and the Canadians and the Brits and Portugal trying to recognize a jihadist state in the heartland of the Jewish people. And here you are, a Coptic Egyptian American, and you've come full circle. Tell me how that process happens. How does that happen?
I will say for as long as I was part of the, you know, Arab advocacy movement, that the thing that I'm happy about was I always kept in my mind that I could be wrong about everything. But so I grew up with a pretty torn identity in the United States. I always felt too Egyptian for America and too Americans for the Egyptians. And I was sort of raised in a naive way. I just didn't know a whole lot. And my parents were sort of hushed about things concerning, Israel and the Arab world. My parents actually support Israel. That's the ironic part was I grew up in a family where both my parents, they preferred Israel over the Palestinians. And they would always tell me like, you can't trust them. They did this in Lebanon. They did this in Jordan. They have a track record of destabilizing countries. But me being young and sort of idyllic, I wanted to believe that they were wrong with these antiquated ideas and such. And so once I finished high school and entered college, I started to meet more Arabs and Muslims in the States. And that's sort of how I was introduced to the pro-Palestinian, the Arab movement. And I will never forget this. During one of the first conversations I had, sort of discussing ideas with them, I was talking to an older Palestinian gentleman, and I was just sort of bouncing ideas off him. I was like, okay, but we want a two-state solution, right? Like that's the end goal. And he said very clearly, absolutely not.
Right.
One Palestinian state. He was not sugarcoating anything, okay?
Right.
And I'm here, maybe 17, 18, trying to get like a moderate answer out of him. And I was like, okay, but, harming civilians is wrong, right? And he's like, there is no such thing as an Israeli civilian. They are either going to go to the military, activate in the military, or they once were in the military. So they're all valid targets. And then I think I was desperate. I was really desperate, Yishai. And so I said, okay, but blowing yourself up, suicide bombing, is obviously wrong, right? I thought that was for sure going to get a modern answer out of him. And he looked at me and he said, Habibi, this is all we have. And that was one of those moments where an alarm bell went off in my head. And I should have used my better judgment. But at the same time, it was the first time in my life where I found a collective that I thought fit me pretty well. I mean, after all, I grew up in an Arabized household. We're not ethnic Arabs being Coptic, but we are Arabized to an extent because of, the Islamic conquest of Egypt and whatnot. And
your language is Arabic. The language is Arabic,
correct,
right?
correct. So we both speak the same language,
right?
Yeah, we both speak the same language. Grew up similar, family experience, same music and stuff like that. But like this, you're like, what else do I have? And so I went with it. But man, like that, I wish I had backed out right then and there, because after that, it's just, even if you say to yourself, well, I'm not extreme, and you think that they're going to moderate, what ends up happening is when you're passive around extremism, violent rhetoric, eventually it shifts onto you. It becomes a part of you if you're not actively fighting it. And that's what ended up happening to me. Was I developed very extreme views on Israel, on Jewish people, and it was sort of the same way. I was sort of the same way, where you see people, anytime something bad happens in the Middle East, like their brain works overtime to figure out, how can I blame Israel? How can I pin this on Israel? And so something that I was told to by like my Arab Muslim friends, for instance, was in 2011, or no, 2010, entering 2011, there was a bombing at a church in Egypt. And the following day, my friends, instead of saying, this is horrible, we're sorry, this isn't Islam, they didn't say any of that. They said, oh, it's the Zionists trying to create division between the Coptic Orthodox and the Muslims in Egypt. And again, this is one of those moments where I was like, I really like wanted to punch them in the face, Yishai, when they said that. But because I'm a minority in a broader collective, I sort of just kept my mouth shut. And that's one of the things I really regret.
Well, I just want to help people understand a little bit. The Copts are a minority that lives in Egypt. As I said before, they're like the original Egyptians. They're related to the original biblical Egyptians. Over the year, they became the first Christians, or amongst them, and they're not very much liked by the Muslim majority of Egypt, and they're oftentimes terrorized or under attack. So the natural mode is for minorities in the Middle East who are persecuted to unite. And there's reasons why we don't. But the bottom line is that your parents were amongst those kind of people who got out of there, came to America, and naturally tended to remember that the reason they got out was because of the discomfort that the jihad forced upon them. And they remember that Israel's also fighting that battle. And they after hanging out in America, they probably came to a different conclusion about Israel and the Jews. But you came in contact with pro-Palestine folks, what I define as jihadis. And the bottom line is, when you had a big talk with them, they said to you, no, we don't want a two-state solution. that thing is just like, that's just a tactic to get to what we want, which is no Israel, all Palestine. You said to them, what was the second question you dealt with there? Remind me.
I asked them if harming civilians was wrong, and then I asked them if suicide bombing was wrong.
Right. So basically, in other words, they said to you, no, violence without borders is fine. That's what we have. That's all we have. But that we're fine with that. And we know that that's the way they attack the Copts, even though the Copts are a minority, right? It's like we a tiny minority and an unarmed minority. So we know that's not really about, the only thing we have. It's what they like. It's what they like to do. They like to use terrorism. But still though, it's not so easy to break out of that and to come to like a pro-Israel mindset. It's not so easy, especially because, sadly, and to my great dismay, Israel's not very cool out there in the world. And as a young man, you probably had to overcome some challenges, in order to to be one of the cool kids, how did you come to the conclusion that you were going to, take upon yourself the big challenge of standing up for Israel?
I remember a few weeks after October 7th, I was in San Diego. I was with my friends, and we were, bar hopping. And we approached a red light, and in front of me is some sort of structure. I can't remember what it was, but I remember on that structure they had posters of hostages, Israeli hostages. And I remember looking at that poster, and it almost felt like an out-of-body experience. Like the blood in my veins felt like it evaporated. And because I remembered to myself, I was thinking to myself about the videos I saw of people defacing the posters of hostages. And I remember I told myself, you might be a piece of crap, but you're not such a piece of crap that you would do something like that. And that was the first instance that I had. That was the first moment that I had following October 7th, where I really started to question everything that, I was witnessing in front of me. But the biggest thing,
that's very recent. That's like 2 years ago, hey? Or even less.
Yes, less. But really the big thing for me, I think, was my dad actually called me. My dad called me and he said, can we have lunch? I want to talk to you about a few things. And so, of course, I went. I saw him and he just sat me down and he said, listen, your mother has shared with me some of the things that you've said online. She's shared with me the posts that you've made, and I'm really scared for you because I feel like you're headed to a very dark place. And he sat me down and he really, leveled with me. He said,
wow,
Habibi, these people, they kidnapped, murdered, they raped, sexually assaulted them, they burned people alive. This is not who you are. I raised you better than this. I don't want to see you go down the same path that a lot of your friends are going down.
Wow.
And it had to take a lot for him to say that, because he knew how strong I believed in this stuff. Like he knew, like my dad and I almost never talked politics because it would always end up in an argument. Because I was one way, he was another. But then after that, you see people who you always sort of despise. Like I've always despised Candace Owens, and I've always despised people like Andrew Tate. And once I saw them gravitate towards the pro-jihad crowd, I was like, wait, if I've always thought these people are grifters.
Okay, but wait a minute. I could have said it to you differently. I could say you despise them because they were conservative right. Once they went over to your side, you're like, look, they opened up their eyes. I even have a video just about that. Check out this video that I have. Let's watch a few videos together. But there's a video about how a Muslim Brotherhood member from London explains how Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Dave Smith are boosting Islam support in the U.S., how he's grateful that they are helping Islam achieve its goals. Check this video out.
Now, right-wing basis, who would have thought that Tucker Carlson, of all people, would sit there and be the #1 advocate against Zionism in America today? Candace Owens, Karima, inshallah, قولوا ameen. Candace Owens, did you guys see the Ted Cruz interview where Tucker Carlson rips into Ted Cruz and just completely destroys him? Matt Walsh likewise, and there's a huge Marjorie Taylor Greene. Sean King said to me when we were in the car once, he said, Sammy, you don't understand who Marjorie Taylor Greene is. She's the representative of the most racist area in Georgia. African Americans were told not to go to her area. She's now one of the loudest advocates against Zionism. But here's my point about the Ummah when you said that we've done everything we can. Why has that change taken place? Because we've started to deploy a power that we haven't maxed out yet. Trump is looking at Tucker Carlson, who's saying we shouldn't get involved. Candace Owens, we shouldn't get involved. Matt Walsh, we shouldn't get involved. Dave Smith, Trump needs to be impeached if he goes into Iran. So Donald Trump, because of that scream, because of you here in Kuala Lumpur, because of us in London, because of those in Berlin, in Rome, because we actually decided to speak about it, because it became relevant, because we decided to tweet about it, because we decided to because we decided to do da'wah at last instead of sleeping, what happened was Trump instead went to the Iranians and said to them, listen, I need a way out. I'm going to send 2 bombers. They're going to bomb, but what did Israel say? These 3 sites. Your scream, your voice, it has power. It shifted an entire U.S. foreign policy. It stopped Trump from intervening in Iran itself. And this is...
All right, so we get the point here. The point is that he's saying, yeah, these conservative hosts were once upon a time conservative, but now they're anti-Israel. They're calling to shrink America and be the America first language. I call it shrink America. They don't want it to be an empire any longer. And I would have thought you would have been like, okay, great. So Candace was on one side. Now she's anti-Israel. I guess she's okay. But you're saying no. So explain that to me.
I have a pretty good sense of when somebody is a grifter, when somebody will say anything for whatever price. And that's the sense that I got from Candace Owens and Andrew Tate and other people. I mean, I've heard Tucker Carlson say some questionable things in the past, although I actually like Tucker Carlson. That's the thing, is I actually used to like him in the past. So that turned out to be a major disappointment. But Candace Owens and Andrew Tate are just notorious grifters. And so when they gravitated to the pro-jihad movement, I had to start questioning myself, was like, okay, I hate them because they're grifters. Am I also a grifter because I'm part of this? Because that's what it's starting to feel like. And the answer to that, unfortunately, was yes. It was. Wow. Because there were things that I knew that were false that I spread. There was propaganda that I knew that was false that I spread. Now, I would like to give myself a little bit of credit and say I didn't put out the worst propaganda, because there was some stuff that was so obviously fake that I was like, I can't do this. Like, for instance, there was this video of, I think, a hijabi woman in Jerusalem. And like, there was like a edited clip of an IDF soldier kicking her in the head. And of course, the pro-Pallies, they just ran with it and said, look how horrible they're treating Muslims in Jerusalem. But then when you watch the whole clip, it turns out she tried stabbing him. So it's like, yeah, I would have kicked her in the head too. Like, what are you talking about? But it's, to be part of that movement, Yishai, you have to, it's almost like when you're watching pro wrestling. If you watch pro wrestling, you have to suspend your disbelief in order to enjoy the show. So for the pro-Palestine, pro-jihad movement, you have to suspend your integrity, your intelligence, your humanity. You have to suspend so many things about you that would make you an otherwise critical thinker to really embrace this. And unfortunately, I did that for so long.
Okay, first thing, I want everybody to check out Michael's Instagram account, which is a lot of fun, which is the way you look for it is, I'm going to put it up right now as a banner. So hold on just 1 second. I'll make it go fast. Let's create a banner for you, and it's called Coptic Kapara. What is that? Is that a mix of a Hebrew word and an English word? What is that?
Yeah, so I chose Coptic Kapara because obviously I'm Coptic, but then I know that Kapara is sort of a term of endearment in Hebrew, but at the same time it also means atonement. So I figured it could be atonement for who I was in the past, blended with my true identity, which is a Coptic identity. And then 0548, that's the month and year that Israel, I think, won its independence or declared itself state. So, wow,
Coptic Kapara, that is awesome. That's an interesting coming together of worlds there. Look, today, Michael, we're speaking. It's not just a regular day. The movement that you were once part of, the anti-Israel movement. And I need to clarify something, which you kind of clarified. Palestine-ism is anti-Israelism. Sometimes people don't understand that. They want to believe the narrative that we're going to hear from later on the show from Starmer, who's like, we want an Israel viable side by side with a Palestine. That's a sham. Palestine is an anti-Israel movement. As the man said to you, it's like, no, we don't want a two-state solution. We're here to see Israel destroyed. And it's just a two-stage solution, not a two-state solution, two-stage solution. And therefore, I make it very clear, like pro-Palestine-ism is anti-Israelism. Today, maybe physically on the ground, Israel is strong. But in the narrative sense out there, it's not. And today, European countries are declaring that they recognize a jihadi Arab state inside of the ancestral homeland of the Jewish people, one that would, if it would ever come to pass, God forbid, would endanger the state of Israel, would become the next Gaza. So I'm turning it to you, Mr. Kapta Kapara. Help me understand how to swallow today. Is today a heartbreaker? Is today a day that Israel will finally do the right thing because they're forced into it, of asserting sovereignty over Judea and Samaria? How do you read today when you look at the map? And you're looking at it from a different place. You're looking at it from a different part. I'm here. We're both Middle Easterners, but I'm here in the Middle East. You're out there looking from the outside in. How do you see it?
I would say it's a heartbreaking day, but not for Israelis necessarily. I think it's a heartbreaking day for the people who live in those countries because they don't understand the Muslim world. They don't understand jihad. They think that if they give them this concession, that maybe that they can quiet things down in their own countries. But that's never been the way it worked. I mean, Israel tried. Israel tried the Gaza disengagement. They tried the Oslo Accords. The Oslo Accords gave them the Second Intifada. The Gaza disengagement gave them October 7th. So there is no concession big enough that you can give these people that will make them any less bloodthirsty. So I actually feel bad for the citizens of these countries because my opinion is that the attacks will just increase. They've essentially rewarded terrorism. They've told them terrorism pays. You can kill, kidnap, and rape as many people as you want, and we'll just give you what you want. That's how I see it. And so I hope that Israel, and I'm going to use your words actually, Yishai, because I watch you a lot. I hope that Israel, becomes the big, strong Israel it needs to be. The big, strong Israel it was in 67, but without, giving the custodianship to the Waqf. I hope Israel is just, I just hope Israel asserts itself, because when Israel is strong, it has positive reverberations in the region. It's pretty insane to think that Jewish people are restricted from their holiest place. That is under the custodianship of Muslims, and they are dictating to Jewish people that they cannot approach there. And this is a precedent too, because if I'm not mistaken, do you live in Hebron?
I work in Hebron. I live here in Judea, about 25 minutes north of Hebron, but I'm definitely living in the occupied West Bank. Okay. I'm right here right now. I'm broadcasting from the occupied West Bank right now. Okay. And I'm proud of it. But yeah, you're totally right.
The reason I ask.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
The reason I ask is because, as you know, in Hebron, I forgot the name exactly of the place. It's shared between the Muslims and the Jews, but prior to 67, 48 really, the Jewish people were restricted from that area. They could only approach as far as the seventh step. I didn't know that until I started learning more over these last 2 years, and that was shocking to me, that sort of apartheid existed, but against the Jewish people. And people really are unaware of the apartheid-like conditions that were imposed on the Jewish people prior to them, reconstituting their presence in Judea and Samaria and Jerusalem.
Michael, apartheid is a systematic idea of jihadism and Islamism. That's just part of the system. By the way, that place that you're talking about is called the Tomb of the Patriarchs and Matriarchs, the Machpelah in Hebrew. The Muslims call it the Ibrahimi Mosque. And here's a little video that I took there today. Let's take a look together. Everybody, I wanted to wish you a Shana Tova, Happy New Year. Hold on. We got to remove this thing. Let's do that again, okay? Here's a little video from the Tomb of the Patriarchs and Matriarchs. I shot it today. Everybody, I wanted to wish you a Shana Tova, Happy New Year, from the mamas and papas in Hebron. I'm a shaliach, I'm an emissary to send you a hello and love from the fathers and mothers of the Jewish people, the founders of the biblical tradition, Abraham and Sarah, Isaac, Rebecca, Jacob, and Leah, and Rachel, who's buried in Bethlehem close by. So blessings to you for a new year from Hebron. And I just wanted you to know that we have a new book coming out in English. Okay, it's Hebron Journey to Our Roots, a visitor's guide by Dr. Noam Arnon. I worked on this together with many people for a long time. We're very proud of it, and you're going to get it yourself soon. It's going to be on hebronfund.org, on hebron.com, and you're going to be able to learn all about the beautiful and amazing sites that you can tour here in beautiful Hebron. So that's it. I just wanted to wish you a shalom, a Shana Tova, a blessing from this beautiful and amazing place, this ancient site that connects us to our roots and reminds us that we ain't no occupiers, that we're from here, that this land is ours because God gave it to us, because our forefathers walked this land, because we had 2 commonwealths here, because we fought in wars and won, because we purchased it, with so many reasons. And it's a blessing. It's a blessing to be back here after 2,000 years with a full 3rd commonwealth. God bless you wherever you are from Hebron, and shalom. Okay, so that was today, Michael, okay? When am I going to get a chance to tour you? Yeah, Habibi, when am I going to get a chance to tour you in Hebron? When are you going to come over and see it for yourself?
B'ezrat Hashem, either this December or what my Israeli friends always tell me, why are you trying to come in December? So it's either going to be December or the summer. But I am so excited for when I finally just end up there to be there. I'm not particularly a religious person, but I am a history buff, and Israel, as far as like countries with just history all over the place, that couldn't better define Israel. So
the beauty about the Tomb of the Patriarchs and Matriarchs is that it's not necessarily to be seen as only a religious site. It can be seen as a national site because it's actually the founders of the movement. It's a burial place where a peoplehood started. So therefore, if you're not religious and you don't feel religious sentiment, but you feel historical sentiment or national sentiment, then you come there and you feel, okay, this is the beginnings of history. This is the roots of a peoplehood. So it can swing both ways and accommodate that. Listen, Michael, let's watch a video or two that I have here about what's going on in the Arab world. Did you see this video of Dearborn, Michigan? Did you see this, the mayor of Dearborn, Michigan, coming down hard against a guy who was complaining that there shouldn't be a city, a naming of a street in Dearborn, Michigan after a guy who supports terrorism? Did you see this video yet? Did you get a chance for that?
I think I have an idea of what you're talking about, but I will correct you on one thing, Yishai. It's no longer Dearborn. It's the Islamic Republic of Dearborn.
You say that. Check out this. There are blue states, there are red states, and now there are green states. Okay, green states is the states that have fallen to the jihadism. All right. So what happened here is the story of there was a guy named Osama who was a publisher of a newspaper, and he stood up and praised Nasrallah and Hezbollah and said that they should destroy Israel. Then they decided that they wanted the Islamic Republic of Dearborn. They decided that there should be a street named after him, and so this guy came to town hall to discuss it, and here's how that discussion went as he was asking Dearborn, Michigan, not to name a street after a jihadi. Check this out.
I mean, Hezbollah, bombed the embassy in Beirut, and including many Americans. So I just feel it's quite inappropriate.
You are an Islamophobe, and although you live here, I want you to know, as mayor, you are not welcome here. And the day you move out of the city will be the day that I launch a parade celebrating the fact that you moved out of the city, because you are not somebody who believes in coexistence.
Okay, so that was Abdullah Hamoud. He's the mayor of Dearborn, and he says you do not belong in my town, and you're not welcome here because you stood up against jihadism and you don't want coexistence, because that is always the first attack of the jihad, is the sending in of liberalism and progressivism. Once you you're schooled in progressivism, then you just have to accept the equality of jihadism and Islamism. Okay, so you saw it there on parade. Here's an Islamic guy, Islamist, wanting to name the street after a pro-jihadist, somebody says, I don't think it's a good idea. He says, you're an Islamophobe. You don't believe in coexistence, right?
Yeah. That guy has been known to be, a real piece of work. The mayor, I believe. Before I went public and started showing my face, because I used to do stuff, Hasbara, but I wouldn't show my face. I wasn't that comfortable yet. And I remember there was a video of him, speaking before a crowd of protesters. And in that crowd, I saw the flags of the IRGC. I saw obviously the Arab Revolt flag, aka the Palestinian flag. Saw the Lebanese flag, saw the Yemeni flag. Didn't see one American flag. This is how they assert their dominance. That what you saw right there between the mayor and that gentleman, the concerned citizen, that is how they assert their dominance. I mean, they tell us this in the Middle East. They say, no, you have a designated role in this society, and you can never reach the level of a Muslim. You have an automatic, second-class status in our countries. Ask the Alawites, ask the Druze, ask the Christians in Syria right now. How are they feeling?
Or the Copts.
And or the Copts, yeah. Or the Yazidis, the Kurds. I mean, ask any religious or ethnic minority in a Muslim majority country, and they'll tell you this is how it starts, that you don't belong here.
That's very strong. That's very strong. Okay, you yourself have fought some protests. Let's see your fight against the protests, and you'll tell us the story behind this video.
I'll tell you what happened with Chevalier Bookstore in LA.
Got canceled.
So when I posted about my event in LA and we started getting signups, there were some protests from Zionists about me.
Ahlan Biki, Janan. So let me tell you what happened. A few weeks ago, I made a post on Instagram asking people for help in organizing a protest on the day that your event was scheduled to take place. And me, I'm not Jewish, I'm not Israeli, I'm Egyptian, Coptic, and I needed the help of the Jewish community to get this done. And you being a terrorist supporter and LA having such a sizable Jewish community, it felt really weird having you here. And so a few dozen people reached out to me and we proceeded from there. The next day, I called the bookstore myself and I told them, hey, it's really weird that you guys would advertise this as a family-friendly event, yet the author and person that you're hosting openly celebrated October 7th, called Hamas heroes, and blamed the Bibas family for their own murder at the hands of Hamas. Is that the type of person that you want to host in LA? I called them the next day too, and I don't know personally what happened beyond that, but safe to say the results speak for itself. I want you to know that wherever you go, we are coming for you. Whether it's LA, New York, New Jersey, Washington, D.C., we are coming right after you. I just want to say thank you to everybody who reached out to me about this. It means a lot that you would trust me for this. And this is only the beginning. Wherever these people go, we're going to be right after them. So a very, very special thank you to Beitar. Thank you so much.
Okay, great video. So tell me a little bit about the story behind this thing.
So the woman that you saw in the beginning of the video, her name is Janan Matali, and she is, a Palestinian American here, and she is among the most vile people that you can meet in that space. I don't know her personally. I've never met her, never spoken to her, but I'd followed her, and I kept track of what she was saying online. She has posts on her Instagram saying nothing is unprovoked with Zionists. She has a post that says Israel and Israeli society cannot exist. I read her comments where she blamed the Bibas family for their own kidnapping and murder. Basically, she's like, oh, well, they shouldn't have been there to begin with. And so when I found out that she was doing a book tour, particularly one in LA, I was like, this can't happen. LA is a huge Jewish community. This is another way of them trying to assert their dominance over people. And that event got canceled. And of course, she lied about the reasons. She claimed it was solely because she's Palestinian, solely because she's Muslim. It had nothing to do with that. There's plenty of authors who would fit that description that I haven't gone after because they haven't espoused violent rhetoric that I know of anyway. And then she had another event in Montclair, New Jersey, which also got canceled. I did the same thing. I called the bookstore. I communicated with a few people here who communicated to the Jewish community over there, and they ended up canceling her book event as well. That one actually came as a surprise because I think initially they were hesitant. They gave some sort of excuse about free speech and whatnot, but I think the Jewish community, nearby that area, they came down pretty hard on them, and rightfully so. Unfortunately, Jewish Voice for Peace actually promoted her at another location, like Jewish Voice for Peace
is a pro-Palestine, anti-Israel organization.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what the name is. It's an anti-Israel, anti-Jewish thing. It happens to have the word Jewish on it. Sadly, there are Jews that are anti, just like jihadism at the end is anti-Arab. You know what I'm saying? At the end, it's anti-decency, anti-Arab, it's anti-Middle East, it's anti-decent life for decent people. So what if it's run by Arabs? It's still anti-Arab. So too, Jewish Voices for Peace, JVP, and all these other guys. Okay, so they have the, as a Jew on them. Big deal. Doesn't mean that they're not, haters of Israel. Doesn't mean that they're not dangerous pro-jihad, progressive, anti-American folks. So that's who they are. Okay, big deal. So they have the word Jewish on them. That doesn't make them immediately pro-Israel. Far from it.
No, not at all. And I mean, actually, what's crazy is now they're not extreme enough, right? They're not extreme enough. And so a group has split off from them. They're called the Anti-Zionist Jewish Students Front. And in their description, they say, we are participants in the student intifada. I mean, this is where we're at in this country and across the Western world. I mean, people thought that, because of history, that if it's going to come from anywhere, it'll have to come from somebody who's Arab Muslim. But what we're seeing now is that this Palestinianism ideology, it has permeated to places where you never would have expected. You would never expect, people that identify as trans to vouch for this and to wage an attack.
You wouldn't expect it. You wouldn't expect it on the face of it. But after you start seeing it, you start realizing that there is an alliance between progressivism and even ultra-progressivism and jihadism. The alliance is the erasure of the old system. It's a type of a communist effort to disaggregate society, to break down all its barriers, to break down all the things that make society work, which is family values, connection to the Bible, the freedoms, and liberties. All these things are to be erased. The military and the security people are to be erased. The police is to be defunded. The history is evil. And jihadism, which rewrites history, and transism, or whatever it is, what kind of one version of progressivism or another, is there to seek out to break the bonds of traditional society and break it down. So they are actually allies, not allies in the ideas that they espouse, but the ideas behind it, which are there to destroy society and remake it in their way. Let's watch one more video that we have time for. And this video is you doing something that I think is one of the most important things to do, which is to speak in Arabic. I think that a lot of Arabs are misinformed, brainwashed, and they simply don't have enough to hold on to as an alternative narrative. And here you are speaking in a language that I'm going to play that video, then you're going to explain it to us. Here we go.
قلبي العكس. بصي بقى أنا دفعت عنهم ل20 سنوات.
Wait a minute.
20 سنوات.
Hold on. We had that problem again. Let's just do that again. Hold on. Here we go. Let's start that again about you speaking in Arabic. Here we go.
قلبي العكس. بصي بقى أنا دفعت عنهم ل20 سنوات. وفي 20 سنوات ما لقيتش أي إنسانية ولا حقوق الإنسان. يا حبيبتي القضية الفلسطينية قضية ضد الإنسانية. القضية الفلسطينية قضية الموت، الإرهاب، الاغتصاب، الإمبريالية والاستعمار الإسلامية. نفس الاستعمار اللي ركبت مسجد الأقصى فوق المكان الأقدس بتاع اليهود. والقاتل من امبارح منكم، من نفس القضية ومن نفس التفكير. فأنا بدافع عن إسرائيل ليه؟ عشان لما أنا بدافع عن إسرائيل أنا بدافع عن الإنسانية والحقوق الإنسان والمستقبل.
Okay, so that was in Arabic. It's so important to speak in Arabic. It's so important to create these videos and to teach. Do you agree with me that a lot of Arabs have been untaught, mistaught? They just don't know the truth.
Definitely. The ones back home in the Arab countries are definitely lied to and not told the truth. If you ask some of them what do you know about October 7th, they'll give you just a completely different story. I do make a distinction between the ones back home and the ones here. The ones here in the West, they know better. They're not uninformed. They're just skilled propagandists. They know how to lie and spin things. So I've heard literally every conspiracy theory you can imagine from here. But definitely for the ones back home that have much more limited access to media, plus all their media is state run, they're definitely underinformed.
That's right. And videos like yours do penetrate their minds, and it's important to keep doing it. Listen, Michael Gamal is an amazing guy. You can find him on Instagram, Coptic Kapara, and then some numbers as well. Coptic Kapara, what is it?
0548.
0548, May of 1948. Very good. And he's already taken a turn in his life and is now fighting against jihadism, Palestinianism. He is fighting for Israel, and not necessarily because of the Bible or because of religion. No, because of a sense that Israel is a force for life and humanity. It's a force for liberty, for minorities, and for other people. And that jihadism is exactly the opposite. It's a destructive force, both in the Middle East and now coming to a town hall near you. So it's important to fight that. And Michael, it's great to have you on the show. And I'm looking forward to hearing more from you and staying in touch with you. And you've also proven that you're not only a person with ideas, but you're actually going to take that ideas and turn it into activism. And activism comes with a certain amount of danger. So we want to bless you to be safe and to be strong out there and to continue to fight the good fight for a better America, in your case, for a better Middle East and a better world. So thank you very much for all that you do.
So, thank you. If I could include one thing before I sign off.
Sure.
If I implore the world to listen and watch Yishai, really listen and listen with an open mind, because it was not that long ago, because I used to watch the debates between you and other people on the Sulha channel with Adar Weinberg. I've seen a couple of your debates. And I remember back then, I was like, oh, hell no. But now, with an open mind, I was like, he was right all along. So I implore the people watching, please listen and watch Yishai. He really knows his stuff. And on the eve of something that happened yesterday in Nashville, New Hampshire, where the shooter yelled out "Free Palestine," Yishai truly understands what the world is up against. He understands the jihad.
I try to understand the jihad, but I also have a heart for the people of this region. I don't have some kind of reflexive hate for Arabs, far from it. And that's the other side of it. It's like, yes, hate and fight that jihadism all the way with no holds barred, like to total destruction. And at the same time, recognize that there's people here that want liberty and freedom. They're minorities. They're decent people. They want a life, and they have been brainwashed, and you can push back against that. But to be a proud person on your land, and fight for your rights, fight for this region's liberties, fight for Israel being a liberation nation. That's what I think that Israel really has an important role to play around here. That's the hope that we can not only defend ourselves, but help this region have a reboot and have tourism and Abrahamism and welfare and growth of food and fruit and food security. And, there's so many good things that can happen, but we got to get over that hate. We got to get over that jihadism. We got to get over that replacement theology and that replacement nationalism. It's not going to do good for anybody. Michael, God bless you. Michael Gamal, keep up the good work. We'll be
God
watching.
bless you, Yishai. Thank you for having me on.
We'll be in touch. And say hi to your dad and tell him that he's a great guy. He's a great man for talking to his son lovingly and straight up. And that's passing the mantle of what it is to be a man, to look things in the face, to challenge ourselves, to get better every day. So tell him from me, kol hakavod, okay?
I will. Thank you.
God bless you. Allah,
God bless you, Yishai.
All right. Very fun stuff. Very important stuff on this important day where there's so many lies out there. People like Michael Gamal have the courage. You know what? That's really what amazes me every time. What amazes me is not the understandings, because you can read a book and you can be like, oh, you know what? I don't think jihadism works. It's the courage. That is the marker. That is something I love. And this week I got a chance to spend time with Musab Hassan Yusuf, the Green Prince. I got to spend a lot of time with him last week and this week. And you're going to see some amazing videos coming out this week on Yishai Fleischer TV. And that's also what is his, he's erudite. He's sharp. He's fire. But more than anything, he's courage. And that is what I so much respect. All right, folks, we got to start dealing with the issue of what's happening around the world. So let's actually watch an explanation about how the folks in Europe see the situation. Maybe before that, let's do a little bit of humor from David Keyes. Just a little bit of humor.
Terrible things happen in the world, but sometimes you forget to blame Israel. That's why I've launched the Blame Israel Reminder app. It scans news 24/7, and whenever tragedy strikes, you instantly get alerted on your phone reminding you to blame Israel. A celebrity murdered? Obviously Mossad. A horrific pandemic? Gotta be the Jews. Market crashes? Come on, that one's too obvious. Don't ever find yourself in that uncomfortable position where someone else is blamed for a tragedy when you could have easily pinned it on Israel. Thank goodness no one checks facts anymore before sharing idiotic hot takes on social. So download the Blame Israel Reminder app today. And if for some reason it doesn't load, at least you know who's at fault.
That was a good one. Okay, that was definitely a good one. And sadly true. There is a lot of blame of Israel. Let's do a little video from a guy who really loves to blame Israel. This guy, his name is Owen Jones. I never heard of him, but he's an activist and a so-called journalist out of England, and he went to Palestine. Listen to the things he says about Hebron.
We're in Hebron, a Palestinian city, and it is, frankly, it's...
Wait a minute. So first thing, he says it's a Palestinian city. Well, Hebron is mentioned in the Bible from 4,000 years ago. Jews have lived in Hebron for over 3,000 years straight. Nobody even denies that. We've lived there as an ethnic majority, an ethnic minority. Today, a big part of Hebron is controlled by the PA. But the way he says it, he's like, right from the get-go, he erases any Jewish connection to this place. It happens to be that Hebron is the first place that Jewish people purchased, that Abraham purchased a piece of property in the land of Israel. So right from the get-go, you see what this guy's about.
It's like a horror film. I'm just going to be honest. It's like a horror film. It's
like a horror film. Remember these words, okay? This guy's in Hebron. He says it's like a horror film, okay?
Palestinian city, which has been divided up.
Look at the picture that he's showing you. Look. There's houses in the background. I know exactly where this picture is taken. There's some houses in the background, but look, there's a little bit of barbed wire. Oh my God, it's a horror show. So John Knox clearly knows who Owen is. He goes, oh no, not Lefty Owen. He's the male version of Greta. Oh my gosh. But look at the horror. It's horrific. Horrific. There's a piece of barbed wire in the grass there, bro. Okay.
The residents here live in prisons.
The residents here, it's a horror show. The residents here live in prisons, okay?
And there's a few hundred Israeli settlers protected by this force of Israeli soldiers, and it has devastated the lives of thousands of Palestinians.
Okay, so it's horrific. It's devastated the life. We didn't see any devastation, and they're all in prison, okay? That's how this guy starts the show, all right? Now, should we watch it again in order to understand it? It's horrific. Their lives have been devastated. They're in prison. Correct? Did you hear that? Good. Okay, let's take a look at downtown Hebron, what downtown Arab Hebron looks like. Okay, look at the cars. Look at the cars. Look at the stores. Look at what the guys are wearing. Look, that's a delivery food truck. just look at the cars. This is a video that my friend found for me online about. There's actually back there. That's the mall being built. We'll go to the mall in a few minutes. Okay, look at what people are wearing. Jeans, new sneakers, nice cars. But where's the horror? Where's the horror? Where's the prisons? Where's the devastation? Oh. The devastation must be the Samsung store because people want iPhones. So therefore that might be the devastation. Oh my gosh, all these new cars, they're horrific. Just horrific. This is downtown Hebron. You are right now driving through downtown Hebron. Owens, did you show us a little bit of this? You deaf liar. Okay, let me move it ahead a little bit. Okay. Okay, look at this. Wow. Oh, that's what he means by prison, that they've built these castle-like things that look like a prison. Okay. All right, let's see. Let's see what else we could find about what Hebron looks like. Where's the horror? Where's the prison life? Where's the destruction? Here we go. Here we go. This is the Hebron Center Mall. Hebron Center Mall. Look at the Arabs. Look. Look.
This
They're
is
wearing
an
Arab
8-story
traditional dress.
shopping mall for your notes. Right in it's called Hebron Center. I took a sign.
Did you see that mall? Did you see that mall? That's an 8-story mall, okay? But yet Ellen Jones tells that it's just horrific. It's just horrific. Oh my God. I mean, these people's lives have been destroyed utterly. And yet it's just a fabrication, isn't it? It's just a lie. You're just a liar. Now imagine if a guy comes to a town and fakes the whole video for you. Imagine what the whole other thing is about, starvation in Gaza and all that. Do you see? They are serial liars, people. They're serial liars. They tell you lies. They don't show you the truth. He tells you that Hebron is destroyed, that people are living in a prison, that it's a nightmare, that it's horrific. And yet I just showed you the 8-story mall. Arabs are shopping. So did he show that side to you? Did he show you the other side? No. Absolute propaganda and lies. That's part of the kind of stuff that we're hearing. Now, let's understand a little bit. Let's understand a little bit. I'm missing a video that I really wanted to show you right now. Where is that video that I wanted to show you? I lost it. I can't find it. And that is, maybe I could get a link, please, for the Keir Starmer video that I wanted to show. Where is that Keir Starmer video? It's not easy, folks. We got a lot of stuff here that we want to show you every single day. But I see it, but it somehow didn't come down properly. Well, okay, let's see no, I want to see that video. I want to see that video. Where is that Keir Starmer video? Hold on one second, everybody. Just hold on, because it's such an important video that I need to show it to you. Where is that Keir Starmer video? Oh, Starmer. There you go. Why didn't that come down? Hold on one second. It's okay, right? Because we got a lot of stuff going on, friends. Okay, here we go. Here's that Starmer video is going to be ready for you in just 1 second. So we saw this guy Jones, right? Owen Jones, and he was telling us that the Arabs are living a nightmare in Hebron, and I just showed you what Hebron is really like. And now let's see if, I see there's a problem with that video. There's a problem with that video. I want to ask my beloved producer Yo to please fix that video. There's something wrong with the Keir Starmer video. It did come down, but it's not playing right for some reason. It needs to be in a different format. Fine. So if we don't have that video, let's go to ILTV. Yeah,
I'll fix it. You do the next one. We'll come back.
Okay, no worries. I just wanted to show people what British lies are all about. No problem. Let us instead watch a little bit of the news and see how the world is ganging up on Israel today. Here we go.
Its military campaign in Gaza City this weekend under Operation Gideon's Chariots 2. The IDF says it hit around 100 terror targets in the past 24 hours, including tunnel shafts, weapon depots, command centers, and active Hamas cells. Multiple divisions are now engaged. In Gaza City, Division 98 is clearing booby-trapped buildings and underground infrastructure, while Division 162 is active in Jabalia with Air Force support. In the north, Division 99 is striking hidden shafts and fighter positions. And in the south, near Han Yunis and Rafah, Division 143 is fighting street by street. The IDF says its objectives remain clear: eradicate Hamas's military wing, secure Israel's borders, and bring the hostages home. Meanwhile, civilian exodus continues, with some 450 to 480,000 Palestinians leaving Gaza City in recent weeks.
Just for a second, I want you to look at this picture. I just want you to look at this picture carefully. This is a very important photo, a very important image. I want you to look at it for a second. Look at Gaza. Here's people moving down a road. And look to the right. Look to the right. There's nothing there. It's just all sand and dunes and broken houses. Look to the left. That's the Mediterranean. Do you understand now what Donald Trump was saying about this area having the potential of being one of the most beautiful places in the earth, in the world? It could be amazing. And instead, it's just junk. It could be something so great for humanity, for the Middle East, for Israel, for the Arabs, for work. Instead, it is just a sandy sand pit with death tunnels underneath, instead of the lovely, beautiful place that it could be. What a shame. This is what jihadism is. Look at it. This is what jihadism does. It's destructive. It has no life force, people. It has no life force. And if you allow the jihad to enter your town, this is what they will do to you. And this is what they have done to the Arabs. The jihad is a sickness that has struck the Arabs. Look what it has left them with.
Despite Hamas's attempts to block their escape. U.S. President Donald Trump is backing Israel's latest expansion into Gaza City, saying the operations could help free hostages still held by Hamas. Speaking from the Oval Office, Trump said fewer than 20 hostages remain alive. Israeli intelligence estimates as many as 20 of the 48 hostages remaining are still alive, while hostage families fear the intense fighting may cost their loved ones' lives. Trump also pushed back hard against the UN report accusing Israel of genocide, and yet called October 7th a genocide at the highest level. The White House says the president will continue to support Israel's right to defend itself and eliminate the terror infrastructure in Gaza.
So important that the president of the United States is speaking a counter narrative. Thank God for him, in that sense. Because my God, like if it wasn't for his counter narrative, there'd be only one narrative in this world, that Israel's somehow the aggressor and is killing children. And as I say to people, blood libel is back. Blood libel is back. Thank God that President Trump is speaking a different narrative.
Let's take a listen.
As you know, I was able to get most of the hostages out. We're down to 20, and we have 32 dead people. You know that. We have 32, maybe more, 38, but between 32 and 38 people that were dead, mostly young people. And I've dealt with some of the parents. And we got all our Americans out, as you know, but now we're talking about mostly Israelis. But I dealt with parents, I spoke to parents, and they want the body of their son, believe in almost all cases sons, but they want the body of their cherished, beautiful son. They want the body back as much as though he were alive. It's so sad to see. But I've dealt with the mothers and fathers. Please, sir, please, the body of my son. They know he's dead. And They just want him back. They want him back as much as though he's alive. I mean, it's very terrible. And, you know, we have very close to 40 bodies that are included in the whole thing. But we have 20, probably 20 that are living. It might be a little bit less because a couple of things.
Qatar is demanding a public apology from Israel over the Doha strike on Hamas leaders as a precondition.
Oh my God. Qatar wants an apology from Israel. We are so sorry that we did not strike you earlier. And we are so sorry that we are not sure that we killed all the Hamas folks. And we should have made sure of that. And we are so sorry that we allowed you to get so big to become a influence superpower that is anti-Israel. We're so sorry that we have not made sure to stop all of your ability to buy the West. And we're so sorry that that we didn't make sure that you would never have such a power against us, and to that we haven't lifted the veil on your charade earlier. And so we're sorry about that. And we're sorry that your so-called monarchy is actually pro-jihad, anti-Israel, and is part of the problem. And we're sorry about that. And we're sorry that we allowed you to ask us for an apology, where instead you should have been quaking in your boots that we might strike you again. We are sorry that we've been too weak and that Israel should be bigger. We're sorry that we allowed October 7th to happen, both as a physical kinetic war against us and as the narrative war that you lead. We're sorry that Al Jazeera studios in Qatar are still standing, because they should be down. So yeah, we apologize for a lot of things to Qatar, and that apology is sincere from me to you. Okay, let's keep going.
To resume its mediating role in hostage and ceasefire talks. The country's chief negotiator met with the president of the International Criminal Court in The Hague, seeking legal accountability for what Qatar calls a grave assault on its territory.
They have assaulted our territory, and we are very insulted. I'm so insulted. Allahu Akbar. I am insulted. Really, I really am. Okay, I was trying to destroy you fair and square, through buying out the West and buying politicians and PR agencies and TikTok. And then you bombed us? This is a friend? I was helping you with negotiation. Yes, I was funding Hamas. Yes, I didn't want negotiation to succeed. I want you to choke and die. And you should apologize.
Despite being an observer state and unable to refer cases directly, Qatar is pursuing every available legal and diplomatic avenue. Officials say Israel could offer a narrow apology, possibly for the accidental death of a Qatari security officer, instead of asserting liability for targeting Hamas, in order to meet Qatar's conditions without undermining its political position. Without such
yes, we give you a limited apology. Come on already.
an apology, Qatar's mediation is on hold, leaving hostage release and peace talks in limbo.
They are not negotiators. They're the Hamas. Hello? Is anybody home? McFly? Is anybody home here? What's going on? They are not negotiators. They are not negotiating partners. They are terrorists, terror supporters. Hello? Anybody home around here?
Portugal's foreign ministry confirmed today it will officially recognize a Palestinian state just ahead of the UN General Assembly. The decision follows months of signals from Lisbon citing the escalating Gaza war, the humanitarian crisis, and Israeli annexation threats. Portugal joins France, the UK, and Canada, which are also preparing to extend recognition at the Assembly. Palestinian officials praised the move as brave, while Jewish community leaders in France and Britain denounced their government's plans.
Okay, so we have a situation where, as you could see, Palestinian statehood is to be recognized at the UN, and countries today are going one after the next to recognize it. And that's really a horrific thing. That's a horrific loss for Israeli for Israel's narrative. And the only good thing that can come out of this thing is Israeli sovereignty. Now, the Israeli government has put up messages that if the world pushes to recognize Palestine, we will unilaterally assert sovereignty over Judea and Samaria. You can see that here. Okay, let's take a look here. Basically, they're saying a prize for terrorism. The Canada, UK, Australia formally recognized the state of Palestine, linking a decision to a renewed effort for a two-state solution. So effective today, the 21st of September, the Commonwealth of Australia formally recognizes the independent and sovereign state of Palestine. It doesn't exist on the ground. It's literally an organization that funnels money from jihadists. But okay, that is what's happening today. And Knesset member Amir Ohana slammed the decision targeted specifically British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, posting a photo of him with the words, "A modern-day appeaser who chose dishonor." And that, goes to the British thing of Chamberlain. Okay. That's true. But the only good thing that's going to come out of this is the possibility of Israel asserting sovereignty in Judea and Samaria. Now, personally, if you ask me, I don't love the idea of asserting sovereignty as a punishment. I don't like that at all. I don't think we should be saying, oh, yeah, you're going to declare Palestine? Well, we're going to declare this is Israel. Personally, I don't like that at all. It's not a punishment. I don't need to punish anybody. It's Israel because it's our heartland. I don't want to use that as some kind of like punishing tool. I want to use that as just reality. It's like, this is our heartland. And if we believe it, we should not be using that as a punishment tool. We should be using that as just a way to tell the truth. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. My assistant has brought me some tea. Baruch Hashem. Let's make a blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shakol niyeh b'dvaro.
Amen. And there's a Starmer for you now.
Where is that? In the folder. Where is that? Starmer? I want you, Starmer, so badly. There it is. Hold on. Oh, very good. Hold on one second.
In the face of the growing horror in the Middle East.
That's right. That's the video that I want to play. Let's do that. This is so important. This is actually important. Starmer. Let's watch Keir Starmer as he explains. Did I do it right? Is it still happening? I want that Keir Starmer. I want to show who he is. I want to explain to you who this guy really is. Let's try that again. Just 1 second. Save us. We're having a hard time showing the Starmer. Starmer. No. Okay. Hold on 1 second. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. The truth is coming out. Here we go. Okay. Starmer. This relates back to that guy, Owen, that we showed before about this British liar, right? Here's Keir Starmer explaining to us why today he's choosing to recognize Palestine.
In the face of the growing horror in the Middle East.
Do you mean war? Do you mean war? Do you mean that we're having a war? Yes. But what do you mean growing horror? You mean we're having a war. We're having a conflict. You guys have had war. We're having a war, right? We're trying to kill bad guys specifically and trying to protect good people. But you're not doing your part, right? What's your part? Your part would have been to help refugees stay safe. But you're not doing that. You haven't taken one refugee.
We are acting to keep alive the possibility of peace and a two-state solution.
You're acting to keep alive peace. We've had a war here with the jihad for 100 years. You guys originally were amazing, the British, and helped us give rebirth to the Third Jewish Commonwealth. Then you turned on us, and you became pro-Arab, anti-Israel, so we had to evict you from the land, which we did. You've ever since been a catalyst for continuing conflict. You are not a catalyst for peace because you try to recognize a different entity on our land, a jihadist entity. I said this to a foreign minister, for an ambassador of Germany. I said to him, don't you see that October 7th is the result of us giving away our land to the jihad? And we've tried it and it's failed. So here's Keir Starmer telling us that he's going to keep the two-state solution alive and a hope for peace, when in fact, he wants us to have another October 7th.
That means a safe and secure Israel alongside a viable Palestinian state.
Yeah, but those things don't go together. Israel is not secured by having a jihad state on its land. Sorry, and so this German ambassador says to me, "Well, that's your world outlook." I'm like, "No, it's not my world outlook. It's what it is. It's a fact. We have given away our land, and it became jihad. You know what? This is too rich to watch alone. I want to watch it with somebody. I want to have a viewing party. Okay, I want to have a reveal party or whatever it's called, an unboxing party. So I want to ask Malka Fleischer, co-hostess with the mostest, to join me. Malka, welcome to the show. Shalom.
Hey, Yishai. Happy Palestine Recognition Day.
Well, there's nothing happy about that for me. But Malka, I'm watching right now Keir Starmer, and I wanted to watch it with you. Do you want to watch it with me from the beginning?
Absolutely.
Okay, here we go. I'm pushing it back a little bit, and you're going to watch it with me together. And we have about 20 minutes for this. Okay, Malka?
All right, let's do it.
In the face of the growing horror in the Middle East, we are acting to keep alive the possibility of peace and a two-state solution. That means a safe and secure Israel alongside a viable Palestinian state.
Okay, so I explained beforehand that those two things are simply mutually exclusive, given that we've already seen that giving away the land of Israel leads to a terror state next door, especially on our land. We can't have that. So therefore, Israel is not going to be viable and secure alongside a Palestinian state. Those things are mutually exclusive because a Palestinian state is a jihad state. It's something to take over our land. And we've known that. We've tested it. And so therefore, I must say to you that it's either that this guy is just a silly, lack of knowledge person, a dumb person who doesn't know and has been brainwashed, or he's a agent or a patsy or a puppet or a muppet, as they say in British, or most likely, I think that he simply is lying to us. He is not for a safe and secure Israel. I don't believe him. I don't believe him. I think he's for the destruction of Israel, and that's why he's calling for this stage right now to be Palestine. What do you think?
I think when randos from Europe start a speech about where I live with, we're going to keep peace alive for you, like heathen savages out there where you live, then I think to myself, boy, is this guy out of touch. We are not looking for you, United Kingdom, to keep peace alive because you never contributed to anything that would be remotely called peace. You certainly aren't a candidate for keeping it alive. The two-state solution never brought a day's worth of peaceness up in here. So I don't know who you think you're talking to or who it is that you think you're kidding, but it is all super. Now we've only watched like what, 30 seconds?
Yeah.
Okay. But it's all so fluffy right now.
Yeah.
Let's see what else he says.
Before we continue with the Starmer fluff, which should be like a Starbucks drink.
Yeah.
Starmer
I
fluff.
like that.
Can you please make that for this Shabbat or for Rosh Hashanah? Some Starmer fluff. Malka, your fans are happy that you're here. I want to remind the fans something that I forgot, which is we're all about the super chats. We're all about super chats. Super chats support the program, get your voice heard. It's an awesome way to help. Well, we're live, then you're live. Let's be live. Super chat it up. You know, this show is expensive. We need a lot of support. We need to push it out. Your support, your voice, our show
and that's
together.
How we can see you also. There's a lot of thank God comments.
Right.
And as they're streaming by, you know, it helps us to see the ones that really want to be said out loud.
So exactly. So please bare your chest and be super chat. Super. Okay. Back to Keir Starmer.
Okay, let's go.
For Starmer
We're
fluff.
30 seconds in, feeling really good about world peace so far.
Can I please have a graphic? This picture exactly of Keir Starmer. I want the words. He has a very wide forehead. I want the words "white colonialist" on his head right there. I want it right there. Or maybe just a bubble coming out of his mouth saying, "I'm a white colonialist. Let me tell you what to do with your land." Hold on one second. Here's some more Keir Starmer fluff.
At the moment, we have neither. Ordinary people, Israeli and Palestinian, deserve to live in peace, to try to rebuild their lives free from violence and suffering.
Yeah, so why are you like...
Wow. Oh my gosh, he's going to free us up in here from some violence and suffering.
Thank you.
Thank you, United Kingdom.
Thank you, British overlord.
We've been waiting this whole time.
You're such a liberator.
Thanks.
That's what the British people desperately want to see.
They do not. They do not. There was a rally of people tearing the Palestinian flag in the streets of London.
What the British people would desperately like is safety and security in their own streets and a healthcare system that doesn't let them down. Those are the things that the British people would like.
Yeah, and they would like actually...
Let me here in Israel tell you about it. In order for England to do better and to have safety and security, Malka is going to recognize the Starmer free zone in England so that people can have safety and security. I'm going to make sure that you guys are okay.
You are benevolent. Okay,
yes,
let's keep
I have
going.
now changed the world.
Yet, almost 2 years after the barbaric attacks of October the 7th.
Don't try to kiss up. You're trying to take away our land again. Don't tell me that you care about October 7th because you're trying to exactly make the formula that led to October 7th. You want to, that's the policy prescription you want. So don't lie through your white colonialist teeth. Okay, don't. I know you don't tell me that you care about October 7th. I know you don't.
Hostages are still held by the terrorists of Hamas. Recent images show the hostages suffering.
Don't call Hamas terrorists because we know that you want to give them what they want.
Suffering and emaciated. Hamas even refuse to release all the bodies of the dead. I have met British families of the hostages.
Crocodile tears, fake, 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 fake.
I see the torture that they endure each and every day. Pain that strikes deep in people's hearts across Israel and here in the United Kingdom. The hostages must be released immediately. And we will...
Man, do they know how to suck up to Israelis?
Blah, blah.
The hostages...
Yishai, I'm sorry.
They'll give us the hostages and we'll give them our land. That's what he wants.
But nobody buys this. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, even the most adamant, person who wants to put the hostages before the issues of Israeli security, no one here could possibly believe a word that this person is saying.
Well, Maka, but I must tell you that when you have a British accent, you just sound believable.
I don't think
it's
so.
a thing. It's a thing. It's a thing. It's a thing.
I don't think he sounds believable. So far, it's just a lot of words.
We'll keep fighting to bring them home.
Wait
Let's
a second.
be frank.
Halt. Time out.
Maka, let Keir Starmer speak.
Wait. Did he say he's going to keep fighting to release our people who were taken hostage 2 years ago? Where is the keep fighting? Where is the fighting? What have you done? What have you... See, this, Yishai, we're going to go through this video now. I don't know how far you're going to go into this video, but you're going to go as far as you go.
Not too far.
Yeah. And in the end, what it's going to show is that England, Canada, and Australia are filled with words. They have so much to say. And while it is true that there may be some physical manifestations of this recognition in the sense that they want to build offices and things like that of embassies or consulates or whatever, in the end of the day, these people do not have the power to affect real change here. They definitely did not have the power to bring peace through the two-state solution, and they did not have the power to keep fighting to bring back our hostages, and they do not have the power, and Starmer's probably going to talk about it in this speech, I think he does, about making sure that Hamas, is taken down and that there's free elections, and the Palestinian Authority has promised to do this in 2026, and we're totally making sure that Hamas, or anyone who thinks like Hamas, is definitely not going to stand a chance to get elected in these elections. It's like they are full of hot air and blustering. And it's true that this made headlines. And it's true that this made headlines not just around the world, but here in Israel and also in Gaza and also in Judea and Samaria. And people saw this, and the people who are itching to destroy Israel got a boost today of morale. In the end of the day, these people have no skin in the game. Not only do they have no skin in the game in the sense that they won't be
They have
affected
some
by what
skin in the
happens
game,
here.
Malka.
What?
There is some skin in the game. You have to give it a little credit.
Okay.
One is they are paid by Qatar.
Okay.
And two, they have tons of jihadi immigrants in their cities. Their cities are half owned. The big towers are owned by Qatar, and the people on the street are praying in the street 5 times a day because they are immigrants from Syria, etc. So they have a new skin in the game. They are a Middle East country now. Don't forget that.
You're a little right.
Let's keep going.
Okay.
Hamas is a brutal terror organization
that I really, really like.
Our call for a genuine two-state solution is the exact opposite of their hateful vision.
Just
You
joking.
guys are like the
Come on.
humanitarians of this earth.
And the German ambassador said to me the same thing. He's like, but they don't want a two-state solution. They want the whole thing. So therefore, when we give a two-state solution, we're not giving them what they want. Oh God, I can't believe it. I didn't see that. Are you playing us for fools? You mean to say if you give them some of the land of Israel, they're not going to be satisfied because they want it all, and therefore you're really sticking it to them? You're really sticking it to them? Devorah says Qatar owns more London real estate than the British royal family does. Okay, there you go. I mean, but do you see the logic? They're like, Hamas want the whole thing. We deny them that by giving them only half of the land of Israel. See that?
Who are they to be giving or not giving in the first place?
See what I did there, Marco?
Who are they? They have no right to give anything to anybody up in here.
I bequeath it upon you. I'm bringing you peace. Have some respect.
So we are clear. This solution is...
Who's clear? I'm not clear.
...not a reward for Hamas, because it means Hamas can have no future, no role in government, no role in security.
Wait.
He means to say that he means that they will ensure that Hamas. Remember the time that we gave away our land to the PA and then the Hamas took over? It's the same thing. So he's telling us it's not going to happen this time. I believe you.
Of it. The British will take care of that. Yeah. I'm relieved.
We have already prescribed and sanctioned Hamas, and we will go further. I have directed work to sanction other Hamas figures in the coming weeks.
Okay, so what's going to happen now is this. Now we're going to sanction you, okay? You got to cry bitter tears. You got to be like, the British have sanctioned me, and now I'm really upset. Did I do it right? Did I say it right? Okay? And it's like such a political game. Okay, see, we're the enemies of Hamas. Hamas, now you do this thing where you're hurt, and they're like, no, we protest against the British. And in the back doors, it's so obvious that they're shaking hands. So obvious. Yeah, Allah. Such a simple ploy. We see it's so easy to see through. Who can believe you? God, I wish this guy had a ticker tape on his head that said like liar, white colonialist. I wish there was you see that forehead? It just fits so well there. Oh my gosh.
Meanwhile, the man-made humanitarian crisis in Gaza reaches new depths. The Israeli government's relentless and increasing bombardment of Gaza.
Blood libel, British blood libel. Warning, British blood libel coming up. Back to the Middle Ages. Here we go. Middle Age time.
The offensive of recent weeks, the starvation and devastation are utterly intolerable. Tens of thousands.
So intolerable that we will send not one ship to pick up some refugees. So utterly intolerable that we should just
not apply
die.
pressure to Egypt
Yeah.
to open the doors a little bit so that like the women and children could leave. No. Not that. It's not that bad.
It's utterly desperate there. Couldn't give a damn personally, though.
Have been killed, including thousands as they tried to collect food and water.
Bro. The Americans set up a whole thing here in Gaza so that people can safely collect food and water, right? It's the Hamas who's shooting the Arabs trying to pick up some food.
This death and destruction horrifies all of us. It must end.
Blood libel.
We have evacuated the first group of sick and injured children to the United Kingdom.
What?
It took 2 years.
Is that true? Even I want to see. I want to see the
How many
boat.
people is that?
Wait. First thing is, if that's true, then Kier, you have my respect. Keep it up, buddy. Keep sending those ships and pick up those refugees. Give them a life, darn it.
They didn't say they have a ship full of people. They said they have a shipment.
To be treated by the NHS. And we continue to increase our humanitarian support. But
you are so noble.
Still, nowhere near enough aid is getting through.
I think there's been about 1 ton of food per 1 ton per every Arab person in Gaza.
Again on the Israeli government to lift the unacceptable restrictions at the border.
No. Wait.
Did you just say the Israeli restrictions on the border? I just want to know if that's what you said, because if that's what
he said it in Britishese.
Maybe what you meant to say is the unreasonable restrictions on the Egyptian border, because the Egyptians have the ability and the space to let in tens of thousands of people every single day.
Millions. The Sinai Peninsula is empty, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Go to Sinai. You will be safe. UN will
But
set
they
up
put up.
tents.
Has anyone seen the video, the footage of the of the like quadruple security fence that the Egyptians put? It's like a wall and then a metal wall and then barbed wire and then some landmines or something. It's like you're not supposed to go through there. They do not want you. But Israel, the ones that has having the war with the people who attacked us in Gaza, were the ones who are supposed to like reduce our restrictions on the border. That makes a lot of sense.
What about the restrictions on the British border? Where's the ships? Send the boats.
Stop these cruel tactics.
Eat.
No.
Stuff.
Keep going.
And let the aid surge in. With the actions of Hamas, the Israeli government escalating.
You see the trick? The trick is now he is saying there's Israel and there's Hamas. They're both bad guys. And we are the calm adults in the room. That's what he's saying. That's the trick.
The conflict.
He's equated Hamas and Israel now. That's
we're
the
all
new
a bunch
trick.
of hotheads who don't know what we're doing.
Right. We
and
need
we're
a
just
nice
destructive monkeys.
We need a
he's
nice
gonna come in and make sure that the peace and security of planet Earth happens here where I live.
We need your colonialist wisdom to help tame us cookies around here.
And settlement building being accelerated.
Settlement building is our we live in a settlement where settlers.
Houses for Jews is what he means.
Yeah, houses for Jews in Judea.
In the West Bank.
West Bank is my home.
It's the real Israel. It's
the heart of Israel.
Where all the stories of Israel that you know about happen.
That's right. We heart West Bank.
Of a two-state solution.
Negative. Doesn't work. Didn't work. You're resurrecting the
dead.
All
right, let's hear him. Go.
Is fading. But we cannot let
stop.
that
Hang on.
light.
We can't hear him. Stop.
I didn't say anything.
He said that the chances are fading.
Yes, they're fading.
That's good news.
Yes, the chances are fading.
All right. Okay, good news number one.
Yeah,
Keep going.
yeah. Hold on. You want to hear that again? Just I'll reverse it just so you can hear that again. Here we go.
Is fading.
Oh no! Wait.
Being accelerated in the West Bank.
Yes, it is.
The hope of a two-state solution is fading.
Mark, our work is paying off.
Yes.
Can you
Let's
fade
just
it away already? This hope, can it fade away? Fade away.
Yeah, okay.
Fade away already.
But we cannot let that light go out.
Don't be using Hanukkah stuff, man.
You could let it go out.
Do not. That's not light. That's darkness, and you can let that go out.
That is why we are building consensus with leaders in the region and beyond.
I just want to thank this guy for being really easy to make fun of. I like that.
Around our framework for peace. This is a practical plan to bring people together behind a common vision and a series of steps, including the reform of the Palestinian Authority.
Not going to happen, bro. Not going to happen. You live a dream, bro. You live a dream. You live a lie. You're teaching a lie. You're lying to all of us. You're lying to all of us.
Do you think he believes the words he's saying? That's
No,
what I want to know.
no,
You don't
I think he's
that they will reform the Palestinian Authority?
No, I don't
You think
believe it.
he totally thinks that the whole thing's fake 100%?
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's what I think. I think that
he might think that the United Kingdom might say,
what the hell does it matter what he
like
thinks?
you should reform.
What the
Because I understand that Mahmoud Abbas praised this recognitions of these three countries. If you're just tuning in now, we are talking about the UK, Australian, and Canadian recognition of a Palestine today. And
Portugal.
Mahmoud Abbas, what?
And Portugal.
And Portugal. And Mahmoud Abbas praised this and said that they're going to have elections, that there are going to be reforms. So I think that there might be a little bit of like a Middle Eastern bazaar thing happening here, where all the Arab entities are like, oh, yes, we are reforming up, down, and sideways after this. I mean, you guys have convinced us that the way that we're doing things up until now, is wrong. And we are like new people now. And we want to be just like you guys. So we're going to be all democratic and Westy, and we're going to wear suits, and we're not going to
look at my tie. I bought it at Harrods. Okay,
you know,
it's nice.
And maybe they're, I mean, it seems very hard to believe that they would be so gullible.
No, they're not
maybe
gullible.
They're so gullible.
No, see, you think so. See, I don't think so for a second. Here, by the way, Deborah writes, I think the current UK government is polling at 18% approval, record lows, but keeps appeasing the Islamists who have ruined the country. Okay. A lot of people are writing this. They
right.
Qatar have bought things in London. People know what this is about. So no, I don't think so. I don't think that this guy is, I don't think that he's just a good guy. UK public are totally against this unconditional surrender. I don't think that this guy is a good guy who's just misunderstood. And then I think he's
okay. You think it's all a facade, that it's just a full-on lie.
I prefer it that way. I prefer to.
Okay, but I'm asking what you think as opposed to what you think.
It doesn't matter because I'm a policy guy, so it doesn't matter to me. Like, I don't know what I'm not trying to understand his psychology or his state of mind. It doesn't really matter to me. It's one way or the other. I prefer to not think of people as ignorant. I prefer to think of them as evil. Sometimes people are ignorant, but I prefer to think of enemies as conniving and smart. And I think of people who reach high echelons of government to be smart and to be clever. So I think he's clever. I don't think he's.
You don't think it's like a Chamberlain situation?
It could be, but I think that more likely is that he just has a lot of pressure from Qatar and from the jihadis in the streets. That's what I think. All right, let's keep going.
That takes us from a ceasefire in Gaza to negotiations on a two-state solution.
I just want to remind everybody, that's how it all got started, Gaza. We gave away our land to the PA, the suit and tie people, and it was taken over by Hamas. And then we had wars and wars and wars. And finally, the big war of October 7th. Now we're cleaning it up. Do you really think that we have to go back to square one? Do you really think that we're going to give away that land, negotiate away our land? And I have to say here that Netanyahu has not been helpful on this, because he has also spoken about some kind of Arab entity controlling Gaza. And that is just sick, old ideas. And here they are. When you say these old ideas, a guy like a puppet like Keir Starmer will mouth those ideas.
We will keep driving this forward. As part of this effort, I set out in July the terms upon which we would act in line with our manifesto to recognize Palestinian statehood. That moment has now arrived. So
basically 2 years into this war, the Qatar-owned United Kingdom is now going full jihadi. They recognize a different entity in our homeland. And I'm going to say something a little bit weird, a little hard to swallow. In this case, it's obvious that the UK is lining up with our enemies, and it's taken an enemy act against us. That's the hard truth. The UK has taken an enemy act against us. They have in the past. This is the country that evicted its Jews at some point. This is the country that reneged on the Balfour Declaration. This is the country that has supported jihadism and two-state solutionism. And so
kept Holocaust survivors out of the land of Holocaust escapees out of the land of Israel.
That's right. That's right. You're right, Malka. You're very right.
But they're also the country that fought the Nazis.
They are.
They're also the country that took in the Kinder transport.
That's right. And look what Darren Johnson
said, because I myself have like a very inexplicable Anglophilia. I really like England. I like British history. I like to go to England. I love British people. I can't explain why. I mean, I had a good friend growing up whose mother was British. I think that's part of it. But
I spent some time in Oxford.
Right. I spent some time at Oxford University. But I want to be honest with you, Yishai, for a second. It's like we're all like talking about, the enemy England, and we're making fun of Starmer and stuff. But I, like, on the softer, sad side here for a second, I just want to say, like, I root for England. You know what I mean? England is not I don't think of England as an enemy country, even though it's a very mixed history. It is a very mixed history with the Jewish people. And I'm not blind to that, but I always hope to myself that England is the kind of country that like will get it in the end and will do the right thing in the end and will lean toward that part of its history in the end. And to see England going in this direction, which is like a very standard line up with the haters of the Jews, get under their canopy type of thing is sad for me. And, going into the new year to make a choice like that, to line up against the Jewish people, to line up against Jerusalem, right? As we're finishing, England may not be aware that it's finishing a year right now, but it is finishing a year.
I want to say to you though, that there's a lot of comments right now in our chat saying, and I want to remind people about super chats, but Darren Johnston says, please don't mix the UK and our government up. Most decent people I know support Israel. It's just the minority's voice is much louder. And so the real truth here is the real truth. And listen to me carefully, everybody. When you recognize Palestine, what you're actually saying is Palestine is now in us. It's in our country. I recognize the Palestine that is within. I recognize the Palestine that is within London. And it also means that your society is under tremendous attack. Here in Israel, we know that Palestine is our enemy. We're fighting a war with it. You're not fighting a war.
Right. You don't know that you're fighting. Yeah.
Right. When Keir Starmer recognizes Palestine, he actually is saying London is Palestine. It's here right now inside. And that's what I'm succumbing to. That is the reality. Why is the IRA burning Israeli flags? So, Irish anti-Semitism is old, and yet, interestingly enough, when I did a video with an Irishman who was pro-Israel, there were 1,000 comments of people, and I'm not exaggerating, of people saying like, I am Irish and I stand with Israel. And so it's actually it's so many good people.
Right. Yishai, I'm sorry to interrupt you. You just kind of inspired me with a thought, is that, here in Israel, we are fighting for our country. We're fighting for the future of our country. And I really want to extend my love and support to all of you out there who understand that you're also fighting for your country right now. It's true, there may not be battles like we're having battles over here with weapons and people in uniforms. You know what I mean? But I think there are many of you out there who know, and raise your hand out there in the comments if this is you. But I think there are a lot of you who understand that when we're doing our battle out here, you are very much doing your battle out there. And in a sense, your battle is harder because our battle is an age-old battle. And it's a battle that is very facial, very frontal. We see it happening. And yours is much more nuanced and harder to, like, it's trickier to fight in a certain way. And so I really want to extend like my compassion to you, my sympathy to you and my understanding that you're out there. And I want to send my strength to you. I want to send the strength of Israel to you in your battles for your countries. As you see country after country drop, capitulate to the terror narrative, to a narrative which is about destroying your own national identities as it threatens our national identity. I want to extend all the strength of the Jewish people to you and bless you in the new year, that Hashem should strengthen you and make you victorious against all those who are trying outwardly and inwardly to defeat you. May Hashem make you impervious to all that and open the eyes of all the people around you, that they should put all of those bad forces to rest before it's too late.
Amen, Malka. Amen. Amen. Very much amen. I very much appreciate those words. And, those are Rosh Hashanah words, Malka. Those are words of Rosh Hashanah. You're really sending blessings to the nations. And the nations right now need very much those blessings. And I want to say to you that we should all have a Rosh Hashanah thought right now, and you're saying to those nations, May the Lord and keep your individuality, your personality, the beautiful side of the UK, England, alive, and not this dark side. And it's a Rosh Hashanah blessing. And I'm going to say, Malka, that I want to bless everybody out there in the world with one characteristic trait. One single thing will set you free. One single thing will get you back on track. One single character trait will get everything back to normal. Okay, when it comes to Israel, I'm always blessing Israel with strength. A big Israel, a strong Israel is good for the world. But for the world, there's one blessing that I'm sending out to the world, and that is the gift of truth. Emet. Get back to Emet. Get back to the truth. You know the truth. The land of Israel belongs to the Jewish people. Jihadism is a dark force that wants to destroy the world, wants to destroy your countries and take it over. They say it all the time. Just recognize truth. Speak in truth. Wish for truth. Emet. Maybe the word emet is a little bit stronger than truth. Emet. Look for emet. That's how we say truth in Hebrew, but it has a different ring to it, And if you go the path of emet, you're going to be cured from these diseases. But right now, and you'll know about genders, and you'll know about family values, and you'll know about the importance of defense. You'll know about the importance of your nation. Get back to truth. You have lost the sense of truth. You let yourself lie. Like you said before, does he believe it? Does he not believe it? I don't know, because he's inundated in a world of non-truth. Is he a direct liar? Does he believe lies? I don't know. But I know that he is surrounded. Keir Starmer is a guy who is inundated in a world of lies. And that is the way to heal forward. Malka Fleischer, I want to thank you so much for being with us here at Yishai Fleischer TV and going with us live. There are thousands of people around the world that are watching right now, and you're giving them strength. So Shana Tova. Maybe you ever wish everybody a Shana Tova, Malka.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to wish you victory. You know what I mean? Victory on the national level, victory on the personal level. We're all fighting battles that other people can't see. Here in Israel, on the national level, we're fighting a battle that everyone can see.
Right.
But I know that there are all kinds of struggles and battles out there. I know that there are personal pains and personal weaknesses and personal sorrows that everyone is trying to overcome to live their best life for themselves, for their family, for their neighborhood, for their nation. And I just want to bless you that Hashem will help you, and you'll feel like Hashem sees you, and that He will give you strength to persevere and to overcome. And by this time next year, we'll be smiling and talking about all the amazing things that happened this year and all the incredible victories and all the incredible miracles, and how it was so much better of a year than we could have ever imagined. I really wish that for all of you out there.
Malka Fleischer, Toda Rabah, thank you so much for being with us. Julie says, the gift of truth, why does it seem that the global disease is not to see it? May your prayers reach Hashem. Bless you both. Thank you very much, Julie. God bless you. And don't forget, friends, that a great way to support the show and to get your comments heard is by super chatting. Malka, you're the super chat of my life. Thanks so much for being with us.
Shana
God
Tova.
bless you. God bless you. Thank you very much. All right, folks. Yishai Fleischer here. We're having a lot of fun, and we have a special guest. We're waiting for him to be able to come on. So in the meantime, we keep going with many, many important videos. Let's now talk about something beautiful that happened last week, and that is that the city of David, which is in eastern Jerusalem, close to the Kotel, the Western Wall, celebrated the opening of the Pilgrimage Road, which is a road that leads from the Siloam Pool in the lower part of it up towards the Temple Mount. This is what people walked 2,000 years ago. And so not only did the prime minister come, not only did the U.S. ambassador to Israel come, but also Secretary of State Marco Rubio flew in, and he came to talk about hostages, and he came to talk about defeating jihadism and the Qatar strike and all that. But he really came to talk about Yerushalayim, Jerusalem, and that reunification of Jerusalem, the rebuilding of Jerusalem, and the finding of the Jerusalem below, the ancient Jerusalem connecting with the Jerusalem above. Here is Marco Rubio at the city of David, underneath modern Jerusalem, in the bowels of Jerusalem, finding ancient Jerusalem and reconnecting to it. Here is what Marco Rubio came and said in the land of Israel, in Jerusalem.
Thank you very much. It's truly a pleasure and an honor.
Well, let's just do that again. Oh, there it is. Hold on. Let's start that again. We'll take Mr. Starmer off. Here is Marco Rubio from Jerusalem.
Thank you very much. It's truly a pleasure and an honor to be here today on this important occasion. It's Mr. Prime Minister and Ms. First Lady, thank you for joining us. To my wife, Jeanette, who has also been able to be a part of it and has been a big supporter and frequent visitor as well here to this such a special project. To our ambassador, Ms. Huckabee, thank you as well for joining us here tonight. I come on behalf of the United States of America and of our president, who I spoke to about 2 hours ago and told him I would be visiting here, who sends his highest regards and deepest admiration and congratulations on what is being celebrated here this evening. I come as the Secretary of State as a nation that was founded 249 years ago, 250 years next year. We'll be celebrating that. I know that that is young by your standards, but from our purposes, it's a special occasion.
How important is it that Marco Rubio recognizes the real age of Israel, which is certainly not since 1948. This is the third Commonwealth, and he sees that.
And one in which it's important for us to be reminded upon what it is our nation, the United States, was founded on. The United States was founded on a powerful idea, defined not by geography, ethnicity, or anything else. It was founded on the very powerful principle that the rights of mankind comes from their Creator. Now, perhaps that principle today is taken for granted. But when those words were written 250 years ago, it was a revolutionary idea. Up until that point, every man, woman, and child largely that had ever lived on the earth was governed by people they did not choose and had no role in picking, and over whom they had little influence. And change came not through elections or at the ballot box, but through wars and through conquest. And so the idea that somehow our rights, our dignity, our value as a human being was rooted in the fact that our rights came from our Creator. That was a revolutionary idea 250 years ago, one that I believed helped change the world. But that idea did not come from the ether. It did not come from someone's imagination. It was deeply rooted in the traditions, in the teachings of ancient words, thousands and thousands of years, that find its genesis here, literally on the very spot on which I stand. For it was here that God fulfilled his promise to his people. It was here that the lessons that form the base rock and the foundations of our laws, of the principles upon which we decide what is right and what is wrong, was built upon. If you think about the things that today we in civilized societies use as rules to govern us, these things did not come because good people wrote them. They came because they were rooted in ancient teachings that found its genesis here, not just in the city, but literally on the very spot on which we stand. It's an interesting thing about humanity. Almost anywhere in the world you go, and there are some incredible archaeological sites around the planet, I believe none as important as this one. But it is stunning how many of these archaeological sites, be they pyramids in Central America or pyramids in Egypt not far from here, were in some ways all defined by the desire to get closer to the divine. Something is programmed in the DNA of us as creatures that yearns to be closer to our Creator. This has been true across societies forever. But it was here where a road led God's people to their Creator. It was here that a road that led them to be as close as they possibly could, not just to the Creator of our species, but of the heavens and the earth and all the universe. And it strikes me as we stand here today to inaugurate this pilgrimage road, we are reminded that truly we are all pilgrims, seeking our own road towards our Creator, towards the divine. For deep inside of us, we all know that we were created for a purpose and for a reason, that our dignity comes from our Creator. We deeply believe in our country as a founding principle from the God of Abraham and Isaac. And to stand here today on the very road where not 2,000 years ago, so many from everywhere ventured to fulfill that desire to be closer to the Creator is a humbling and honoring experience. One more thing of note. This is a fascinating city. I joke, but maybe not joke, that I live in Miami. If you dig a couple feet, you'll hit coral rock. Here, if you dig a couple feet, you'll hit history. So much of the city is built, has been described to be almost as a birthday cake. Layers and layers of human history. And for that, we're incredibly grateful. To be able to see the work that went into this project and to see not just stones, not just ruins, but from this very site to be able to touch a road and stones and the remnants of construction that give word and give life to teachings that we've heard our entire life. To be able to touch and walk upon roads and stand next to not just symbols, not just historic artifacts, but to things that bring to life the ancient lessons and ancient teachings that have guided our societies for thousands of years, without which America, an exceptional nation, never would have been possible, is a humbling and moving experience. But one more thing is striking. As you go through the layers of history, you realize that all the civilizations that conquered this city, all the ones who tore it down and built on top, are all gone. The Roman Empire is no more. nor any of the others that sought to conquer and rule this land. But one people remain. They have returned. For God's promise is eternal, and it is perfect, and his word is always true. And I'm honored to be a part of its fulfillment here with you tonight. Thank you.
What an amazing speech. What an amazing speech. And that those last points at the end there were just unbelievable to me. Like, the people that have built upon Jerusalem are no longer here, but the Jewish people are an eternal people and they're back. And not because they're so smart or great, but because God wills it, because God's promises are true, because his words are perfect. Oh my gosh, that really just touched my heart to hear that said by such an important leader. And again, he came here to deal with the Qatar strike, try to free the hostages, Israel war with Hamas. And yet the heart of this trip was the heart of the return of the Jewish people to the land of Israel, the rebuilding of Jerusalem, and the fulfillment of God's word. That's the heart of it. That's the heart of it. The heart of it is what is this thing all about? And my producer Yo pointed out to me something very true, which is like, we live in a world where, big statements are made and it's just part of the news cycle. It just keeps going. Like, this was probably the most important thing that happened last week in the land of Israel. That is the most important thing that happened, was the speech, the pilgrimage road, the inauguration of that. That is more important than the rest of the stuff that happened. We're fighting wars and people are dying, but like, in terms of proclamations, in terms of historic moments, the recognition of the pilgrimage road in the city of David, in the heart of Jerusalem, in this ancient place, that's probably the most historic thing, most important thing that happened last week. And it kind of goes by. And so we here try very hard to show you what is the real, the real message, the real thing that is happening in this world. And that's truth. And that's Yerushalayim, and that's eternal. That's the eternal promise. And those words of Secretary of State Marco Rubio, that the Jewish people survive throughout time, that it, to me, is like the most. And we have people dying in a war right now. Like, we're fighting a war, and Keir Starmer is telling us, that he's going to cut up our land and create a jihad state. And Marco Rubio is saying to us, well, don't worry about that, because you're going to win in the long term. Because he very well, who knows if England or this jihad will be around in a few years. It will not necessarily be around at all. All right, friends, you are listening to the Yishai Fleischer Show. I want to thank you so much for being with me, but we ain't done. We're 2 hours into live stream. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling excited. We have a very special guest coming right up right now, and I'm very excited. Let me just write to him, make sure that he is ready, and we will bring a very special guest to the Yishai Fleischer TV and to you right now. There he is. Okay, here we go, friends. We have with us indeed a very special guest, and that is a Minister of Diaspora Affairs and Combating Anti-Semitism, Amichai Shikli. He's an Israeli politician, but if you know him, he's not exactly a politician. He's a former combat officer. That's what he looks like in the IDF. He founded the Tavor Pre-Military Academy before entering politics. He was elected to the Knesset in 2021 with the Yamina Party. He became a notable figure after opposing his party's coalition government. He later joined the Likud Party and was reelected in 2022. And now, as minister, he's focusing on strengthening Israel's ties to pro-Israel governments, strengthening Jewish diaspora, and combating this scourge of anti-Semitism. I'm very proud and honored to have Minister Amichai Shikli with us. Shalom to you, sir, and thank you so much for being with us.
Shalom, shalom. קודם כל, ערב טוב, שנה טובה, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you. Yishai, תודה רבה. Thank you for all the work that you've been doing for Am Yisrael.
Thank you very much. I have you on the show today on a very special day. not necessarily a happy day. It's Erev Rosh Hashana. It's the eve of the new year. But the British, the French, who else?
Yes.
The Portuguese, they are declaring that
Yeah.
they recognize a Palestine on our ancestral homeland. That is
Yeah,
an
so
affront to Israel and an affront to you.
Yeah, but we must be very accurate. These are not the British, because 87% of the British oppose this recognition of a Palestinian state. At this timing, 71% of the French, meaning there is a wide opposition to both Macron and Keir Starmer within the French public and the British public. And look at the polls. Macron lost his government. He has no government behind him. In the polls, have 15% support, one of the lowest records for French president in the past few decades. These are the weakest leaders in Europe. The weakest leaders in Europe. They represent Rima Hassan and Sadiq Khan. They represent the red and green unholy alliance that is targeting the state of Israel, targeting the Zionist movement, and they are extremely weak. And I don't, the meaning of this declaration is zero, absolutely zero. They were trying to portray themselves as like world leaders, but the result, they look like a joke. That is the result. And by the way, there will be practical consequences to this declaration. And it won't be what they think. It will be something else.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that, do you mean to say that Israel is going to have a diplomatic payback, or do you think that it means that we're going to declare sovereignty over Judea and Samaria? Do you like the idea of declaring sovereignty as a punishment to their declaration
I don't see it. I don't see it as a punishment. And by the way, the fact is de facto on the ground, and you are very well familiar with the farms in Judea and Samaria. This government supported the farms heavily. We have recognized more than 20 new villages all across Judea and Samaria. By the way, I kind of like the term settlement, because to settle our homeland, I like it. So this government, we've established more than 20 new settlements. That's because of the war. It's not big news, but this is big news. And beside the new villages, you have around 100 new farms. Each farms possess and controls a huge area. These farms are the nightmare of Fayyad and Fayyad program to take over sea area. So when you walk and when you drive in Judea and Samaria today, Bedrom Har Hebron, Susia, okay, South Mount Hebron, okay, or Begava Har, okay, all the back of the mountain going from Samaria down to the Jordan Valley. These areas today are controlled not by troops with guns and helmets, but with children with goats and sheep. And that is much more frightening than the soldiers, because a real sovereign doesn't wear a helmet and doesn't carry a gun. He's just walking in his land. And that is a revolution. So de facto, we are sovereign in Judea and Samaria because of the efforts of the government, and more because of the efforts of the new pioneers of Am Yisrael, the use of the farms, which I admire, and the leaders of this project. What we need to do is to have a declaration. And I think that this is the right moment to do it, not as a punishment, but to say, you want to take one-side steps against the state of Israel, you will learn that we can do it ourselves. And I think this is crucial. And I don't think we're going to have a better administration in the US. I think we have an historical administration, maybe the most pro-Israeli administration since the very beginning and the establishment of the State of Israel in 1948. When you look at Ambassador Mike Huckabee, he knows the Bible better than more of the Bible teachers that I'm aware of. Is more connected to Shiloh and Mount Ival than many Israelis, maybe most of the Israelis. He really gets it. He really is a man of faith, and he's not alone. Marco Rubio, you just mentioned Marco Rubio, the City of David. They get it. There are people with deep understanding of history, with deep connection and commitment to the Bible. And by the way, we have lost Charlie Kirk 2 weeks ago. And he also represented the same line of a deep connection to the Bible. And the deep connection to the Bible is what's created the Judeo-Christian alliance and the true connection in between the American people and the Jewish people. And you know, he had this frame on his shirt, says one word, freedom. And I think the Jewish people are the ancient nation of freedom. The US is the new empire of freedom. And together we walk, and I think the Bible is the book of freedom. The freedom comes before the mitzvot. Because without freedom, your choice to do the mitzvot, it means nothing. Freedom is a precondition to have the ability to do the mitzvot. Without freedom, the Torah has zero meaning. So this is the foundation of our civilization. The Jewish civilization, Judeo-Christian civilization, American civilization.
Well, you said a lot of things, definitely about freedom. That's why we have that's why we celebrate Pesach as the beginning of our religion. It's the first thing is the Exodus, breaking out from slavery. By the way, just to tell you a little story. One time, Christina Manpour was at my house, when I lived on the Mount of Olives, and she looked at the flag. She said to me, "Yeah," and she said to me, she goes, "Does this flag the two lines? Does that represent from the river to the sea?" And Israel controls all that land. I said, maybe, but what I think of it when I look at the flag, I see actually the two lines representing the splitting of the Red Sea and the Jewish people moving from slavery to freedom. And that's what the flag represents. And she was, she was just like,
the man who invented our flag was Herzl's deputy, David Wolfson. And when he drew the flag, he said, "אנחנו נפרוס את טליתנו לעיני העולם כולו." We will raise our talit of prayer.
Our prayer shawl, yeah.
Yeah, to the entire world. So that was the idea behind the flag, the original idea.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, your job partially, and you ran a great conference, which you brought in a lot of influencers, a lot of thinkers. You also, to me, it was music to my ears. You brought leaders from around the world that are nationalistic. Some people were upset with you that you brought in, these nationalist type of country leaders.
Yeah.
But your
That's
job,
another statement.
Right. Yeah. But it was great. It was a great conference. I really enjoyed it. And I met Ali Christiali, Kirstie Alley, she's a great speaker. She spoke at your Ali Hershey Kirstie Alley, whatever. She's
Ian Geers, yeah, from the Netherlands. Yeah.
Yeah, she is amazing. She was fabulous. I met her at your conference and I had her on the show. She's great. But your job in Knesset, in the government, excuse me, is to put out the influence of Israel. But at the same time, our enemy, like Qatar, they are an influence superpower. They have just outspent us strategically. Lobby firms in Washington, D.C., PR firms in Manhattan, real estate, strategic real estate. I mean, they own half of London. Everybody knows that. And these guys have besmirched our name, have blackened the name of Israel around the world. You know, I remember when I was a young man here in Israel, there were always tourists from all over the world. There was these tall Scandinavian ladies and all that kind of stuff. They're not around right now. Our tourism is down below 1 million. Of course, we're in a time of war, but they have dragged our name through the mud and have created a youth around the world that doesn't understand or believe in the story of Israel. This is a tremendous challenge that we have. And that's a challenge also for the next generation of Americans as well. Many on campus, and Charlie Kirk revealed this as well, you know, have bought into the talk about AIPAC controlling America. Nobody talks about Qatar controlling America, right? But AIPAC controls America, and all these other conspiracy theories against Israel. Israel's killing babies. Now we killed Charlie Kirk. You know, even Ambassador Huckabee had to say, yeah, Israel did not kill Charlie Kirk. Like that's the craziness around the world. So how do you fight that? How do you fight the influence superpower of Qatar?
So just one word before Qatar. Charlie Kirk was the first individual that I invited to the conference. I had the privilege to meet his pastor, Rob McCoy, in Israel. And through Rob McCoy, I sent an invitation for both Rob and Charlie. And on September 5, Rob sent me a text message. He's one of the co-founders of Turning Point USA. And he's saying that Charlie is positive. They were together, as far as I recall, in South Korea. It says Charlie is positive about attending the conference. And then a few days later, he was murdered in the most brutal way. I think it is a huge loss for both the US and Israel supporters, because we're now in the middle of a very serious fight with people who previously had positive opinion regarding Israel. I recall Camden Sowens attending the establishment of the embassy, the American embassy in Jerusalem, celebrating the embassy in Jerusalem. I recall Tucker Carlson speaking against radical Islam, loudly against radical Islam. And all of a sudden, you see that Tucker thinks that Hamas is a political organization and not a terror organization. All of a sudden, he became one of the main platforms for Holocaust denials, such as Daryl Cooper. All of a sudden, he's not afraid of Sharia law. All of a sudden, he's the PR promoter for the entire axis of evil. Iran, another dictatorship. Something very bad is happening with Tucker Carlson and with Camden Sowens, who lost their mind. That's a whole different story. And
but where do you think that comes from? I want to hear where do you think that comes from? Have they been bought?
No,
Have they dropped off their medicine? Did they have a bad Jewish agent? What's the deal?
So I think it's twofold. First, Israel today is like the war is like a very hot issue. So if you want to have click bites, speak about the war. If you want to have more click bites, yes, because the mechanism of the numbers, in terms of the numbers of Palestinian supporters all across the globe. If you want to have more numbers, so go against Israel. It will bring you a lot of attention. It will bring you a lot of traffic, and you can follow people like Bilzerian and these kind of, Dave Smith, and up to the point where they were speaking about Israel, Islam, etc., they had X likes, okay, or X followers. From the moment they took Israel as a project to bash Israel, to demonize Israel, and you can see that tweets that are about Israel will be 50,000 likes. A regular tweet can be 2,000, 4,000. So you can see that there is a machine behind these people. And we are all familiar today with the bot farms. And we are all familiar with the influence of Qatar, as you mentioned 2 minutes ago. And Tucker Carlson, it's not a secret. He was in Qatar. He interviewed the leaders of Qatar. He had signed, as far as I recall, a FARA document regarding Qatar. So he became an agent, a foreign agent of Qatar. He speaks a lot about foreign agents from Israel. He speaks about Epstein from the Mossad, 9/11, promoting Hamas, promoting Iran, promoting Russia. I believe that the answer at the end of the day is traffic and money. Traffic and money. It pays off. And it's a business. So the one big difference between people like Charlie Kirk and people like Tucker Carlson and Condens, are you truly a man of faith, or is eventually only about the money? Tucker Carlson is not a man of faith. Candace Owens, she can have the biggest cross behind her back, but she's not a woman. I don't think she believes in anything. And yes, we have a huge challenge, and I think that we made a strategic mistake at the very beginning of the war to accept Qatar as a mediator. During the Mondial, I wrote, and I had no idea that we're going to have a war and Qatar will be involved. And I had no idea. I wrote during the Mondial because I saw Israelis that are going there and being attacked. And I said, what are you doing in Qatar? Qatar is an enemy state. It's an enemy state because it's hosted. It's like the capital of the Muslim Brotherhood. Qatar is the world capital of the Muslim Brotherhood. If you want to fight the Muslim Brotherhood, and I know that I think it's Senator Ted Cruz who want to legislate to ban the Muslim Brotherhood in America. If you want to ban the Muslim Brotherhood, how can Qatar be your ally? Qatar is the capital of the Muslim Brotherhood. They hosted Sheikh Yusuf al-Qaradawi. He is the prominent philosopher and religious figure of the Muslim Brotherhood in the past 50 years. He passed away 4 years ago. He was the one to authorize suicide attack against Israeli women and children, saying it's okay to kill Israeli women and children because the women are going to the army, the children will become soldiers, and therefore you can murder innocent Jewish women and children. Is very, very important. Al Jazeera, with all its platforms, especially AG Plus for the younger generation, this is the main jihadist PR platform worldwide. France, Spain, the US, Latin America. Every single video coming from Al-Qassam, the military wing of Hamas, they have it first. You can learn a lot about the war and Al-Qassam's actions from Al Jazeera. And when the Druze were butchered in Syria, Al Jazeera went against the Kurds, went against the Druze, sorry, or the Alawites, etc., etc. So therefore, I think we made a terrible mistake to accept Qatar as a mediator. The attack at the heart of Doha that we saw a week ago, it needed to happen a week or two after the beginning of the war. You know, the moment you have the intelligence, etc. If we would do it at the beginning of the war, Qatar would have learned not to mess with Israel. But unfortunately, we send the wrong message that they are okay and they're not okay. That they are friendly, they're not friendly. No. Qatar is Hamas. Hamas is Qatar. And the problem is much more wider than just Hamas, because these are the same money that went to fund Ayat Tahrir Sham, HTS, Al-Qaeda, and all terror activities all across the Middle East. it's an enemy state. It's an enemy state, not just against the state of Israel, but also for America.
These are very important things that you're saying, and indeed Qatar is an like, but that's their amazing game that they play, right? They could be a total enemy state, and yet at the same time be like, but I'm hosting the American Army, American Air Force, Al Hubei,
Mondial,
soft
power.
Wow.
Yeah. We have a nice, they have the Qatar Airways. They have half of London, as you mentioned. They are investing in universities. They are buying politicians, as we know from the European Union, etc., etc. They are playing very well, but we need also to understand, eventually, Qatar is not a state. It's a family business. It's a family business, criminal family business, terrorist family business, and they need to be destroyed. They need to be destroyed.
You know, I blessed the nations earlier. I blessed them with this year, a year of truth. You're putting in a lot of truth for us today. Speaking of truth, here is a short video of Ambassador Huckabee on the Charlie Kirk conspiracy theories. It's a short video.
I have to ask you, how did we reach a situation that Prime Minister Netanyahu needs to clarify today that Israel was not involved in the assassination of Charlie Kirk?
Because there are some people in the United States that have lost their minds. This is a blood libel. It's absolutely disgusting and vicious. The level of untruth is such that it's hard even to think that you have to defend it, that you have to repudiate it. But there are people who will believe the most outrageous lies. And I guess we should learn from history that this is not something new, but it is new in the U.S. It's something that we're not used to seeing, is these extraordinary untruths being said about Israel as if Israel is to blame for anything in the world. I'm wondering what's next. Did they kidnap the Lindbergh baby in the 20s? Did they bring down the Hindenburg in the 30s? I mean, where does this stop? And it's really, really disgusting, but I'm very glad the Prime Minister addressed it. I know some people probably thought he didn't need to address that, but truthfully, you got to push back on this nonsense.
Okay, so the Prime Minister of Israel's got to be like, yeah, we did not assassinate Charlie Kirk. That's a crazy time that we're living in. Minister Amichai Shikli, you're also a fighter, a warrior in the IDF. Last question for you for today, and I know you're busy, and I thank you for your time. The war in Gaza continues. 2 years. 2 years. The Gaza Strip was taken in the 6-day war in 2 days. We've been fighting for 2 years, still haven't fully won. On the one hand, fighting to free the hostages. On the one hand, fighting to control Gaza. On the other hand, no clear sense that we want to take civilian control of it, just the military control. We're kind of like being offered by Netanyahu, the prime minister. He offered us what seemed to me like the day before the disengagement offer. There'll be some Arabs to control Gaza. We'll just control the perimeter. Not very exciting vision. The Trump vision of this place being beautiful and casinos and south of France. Well, that vision hasn't come to fruition yet, especially because there's tons of refugees that have never become refugees. They've never left. Now Israel is attacking Gaza City. All of our big units are fighting there right now. People are putting their life on the line. What's the end goal? And more specifically to you, so that's the question to you as a fighter. But now the question to you as Minister of Diaspora Affairs and of Hasbara, basically, how are we explaining this war? Because this war, as you mentioned before, has been used against us as a cudgel. Keir Starmer, we played it beforehand. He's like, horrific stuff is happening in Gaza, just horrible stuff Israel's doing. So they've used this whole war against us very badly. What's the vision for Gaza? What's the future? What's the plan?
Okay, so first, just on the technical side, we're not in charge of Hasbara, and me, I don't believe in the term Hasbara. Hasbara in Hebrew means to explain. I don't think we need to explain what we're doing in Gaza. I think you can watch 2-3 videos of October 7th and you can understand what are we doing in Gaza. That's enough in order to understand what we're doing there. Now, regarding also the fact that it takes so long. So we also need to recall that in fact we were in a regional war against Iran with beyond imaginable achievements by disarming the nuclear program of Iran, dismantling the masses of missiles capabilities, strategic missiles capabilities. Hezbollah, with when we are summarizing this year, yeah, it was a tough year. We've lost soldiers. We still have 48 people behind enemy lines, the hostages. But still, Nasrallah, Muhammad Def, Yihya Sinwar, Muhammad Sinwar, Ismail Haniyeh. This was the worst year in the past 4 decades for Israel enemies. The worst, the entire axis of Iran, Hezbollah, and Hamas, this entire axis has collapsed. It doesn't mean that we're not facing a new axis of evil, and I will refer to that. But the axis of evil, Iran is no longer a regional power, a dominant regional power. It lost its stand as a dominant regional power. They are suffering from electricity shortage, water shortage, riots every day all across Iran. They are on the way down. Hezbollah is on the way down. Hamas is on the way down. Who is the leader of Hamas today in Gaza? You can ask 100 people in the streets of Paris, London, or New York. Who is the leader of Hamas? The name is Azadin Haddad, okay? Not the battalion, but like a brigade commander of the city of Gaza. That's what's left from the entire military leadership and the political leadership of Gaza. Shabana, Muhammad, Yihya, they are all gone. So I think that there are dramatic achievements. 70% of Gaza Strip is controlled by the IDF. And how do I see the end of it? First, we want to have all the hostages back. Second, Hamas does not exist. Hamas does not exist as a military power or as a political power in Gaza. That is a big goal. It's very different from the war against Hezbollah or the war against Iran. In the war against Iran, you said, we want to make sure that we're taking down the nuclear plan of Iran, taking down most of their ballistic capabilities. Hezbollah, to take down the leadership and the front line of the villages that have turned into bases of Radwan forces. These are limited goals comparing to the goals we have in Gaza. In Gaza, it is a total war, full-scale war, until the annihilation of Hamas as a military and political power. And because Gaza is Hamas and Hamas is Gaza, to separate in between the government component and the military component and the civilians, and with the pressure coming first from the Biden administration, just to remind us, how long did it take us to go into Rafah and the discussion globally just regarding Rafah? It was extremely difficult. And we had embargo de facto. When Biden said don't in his speech, it was like don't for Hamas or Hezbollah, whatever. In fact, the only don't was don't to us, to Israel. And we had a de facto embargo. And you had Sullivan a month ago saying our goal was to make sure that Netanyahu will remain weak and he will not be strengthened politically by the war. It is amazing. They didn't care about defeating Hamas. Not at all. They care about defeating Netanyahu. So we had a very difficult conditions. Now, the end of the war, Hamas does not exist as a military power, political power in Gaza. We have Hamas in Turkey. We have Hamas in Qatar. That's a whole different issue. The mission is Gaza, and we need to reshape the borders so that we can defend our villages. So in order to protect Nativa Asara or Kibbutz Erez, we cannot go back to a fence that you can just throw a stone from Gaza to Nativa Asara. It's not going to work. We need to sit on the top of the hills of Bet Hanun, of El Tatra, the ridges behind, above Sijaiya, okay, Reches HaShmonim, Reches HaShivim, 80, 70, that's the name of the ridges. And we need to be in a situation just like in Judea and Samaria, in which we can take a jeep and go and arrest whoever we need to arrest in the middle of Gaza and in the middle of what's left from Khan Yunis. It means full security control, reshape the border and reshape totally the reality in Gaza. And I think it's also very important to make sure that states like Qatar, Turkey, Muslim Brotherhood states will have zero impact in Gaza, because otherwise we've done nothing. We need the moderate power of the region. Saudi Arabia, Emirates, they're the one who needs to have an impact in terms of economy and education in the region that will be reconstructed, etc.
Will there be Jewish communities in Gaza, in your vision?
Look, I think that when I'm not against it, it can be relevant maybe for the northern part where we had Nisanit, Eles Sinai, Dugit. When we had the disengagement, I didn't understand what's the rationale of when you say Morag or you say I don't know. That's one thing, but why would you? Why did we ever thought about even moving from Nisanit, Eles Sinai, Dugit, all the northern part? No Arab population was there in the middle. No. It wasn't even an Arab territory before 1948. It was part of Israel. So I really didn't get it. Now, I think that, to be very, very accurate, this government, we have clear missions, clear objectives to remove threat from Gaza, to bring back the hostages. These are the goals of the war. And when we are sending now the troops into Gaza, we are sending them to defeat Hamas and to bring back the hostages. In order to do further actions, I think it needs to wait for a new government, for new elections. And you should say it loudly that that's your plan. Because to send the troops with missions that are not originally declared by this government, I think it's irrelevant at the moment.
Mm-hmm. That's an interesting point. Were you at the City of David event? Did you get one of those hot tickets? It was a tough ticket to get.
I had a children ticket.
So very good.
It was
I understand.
My one evening that I saw them last week.
Okay, that's very important. Let's watch just a little bit from the City of David, a short little video.
Sure.
It was here that the lessons that form the base rock and the foundations of our laws, of the principles upon which we decide what is right and what is wrong, was built upon.
2,000 years later, we recovered our city, we recovered our independence, we built our sovereign state anew, we built an army, and we built a country like no other.
The stones absolutely and 100% validate that the Jewish people not only belong here now, but they have belonged here for 4,000 years, since the time God said to Abraham, "This is yours."
Well, we're here. This is our city. It will always be our city. It will not be divided again.
For God's promise is eternal, and it is perfect, and His word is always true. And I'm honored to be a part of this fulfillment here with you today.
I welcome today Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who understands that this is the foundation of our common Judeo-Christian heritage. It is being challenged.
Tonight, the rest of the world comes to say, welcome home. And may no one ever, ever attempt to take your home from you.
Am Yisrael Chai, and Jerusalem lives in our hearts. Thank you.
Okay, Amichai Shikli, I wanted to show you that. Minister Shikli, I wanted to show you that little video.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think maybe in some ways it was the most important thing that happened last week. You know, it was like wow, the Secretary of State of the United States came to recognize it.
100%. 100%.
Let me give you a chance.
Moving.
Let me give you a chance to really close out and also give us a Rosh Hashanah blessing for Israel and for the world.
Wow, a Rosh Hashanah blessing. So first, just to say that I truly admire Rubio. I had the privilege also to meet both Rubio and Huckabee. These are both men of faith and deep understanding of history, serious leaders. And unfortunately, you know, it's when you look around and you see Kirk Starmer and Macron, we don't have that much people who really are connected and understand history and fake history of the so-called Palestinian people. And you're a man of faith, and you're a man who have a very deep understanding of history, especially the history of Judea and Samaria. And people tend to forget that even the term Palestine was created only because of us, the Jews. It was created by Adrian Caesars, and if people are following you, I'm sure you've mentioned this fact many times. Adrian Caesar, at the end of the Bar Kokhba rebellion, says, we're going to curse the Jews, and we're going to change the name of the province from province Judea to province Syria, Palestina, upon the worst enemies we had during the Bible, the Philistines, who were from Greek origin, living on the shore in the region of today Gaza, Ashdod, Ashkelon. All these cities are mentioned in the Bible. And luckily, after more than 2,000 years of exile, we came back to our homeland, and we're never going to abandon our homeland once again. And when I look today at the Jewish people all across, and I see all the hate aiming at Jews, in young Jews in universities, religious Jews in the streets, it is really a challenging period. And I think the one deep answer to anti-Semitism is Jewish education. We cannot win this war if we move away from our identity. We need to push forward, to learn more, to have a better understanding of history, to have a better understanding of Jewish philosophy, of Jewish theology, to have strong Jewish families, strong Jewish communities, to make an effort to make sure our kids go to Jewish schools. If not Jewish school, at least Sunday. If not Sunday, at least the youth movement. Do everything you can in order to make sure that your child knows the Bible, that your child knows our history, because that is the only answer, deep and true answer, to combat anti-Semitism. And I think it's true both for Jews and non-Jews, because take a look at Marco Rubio. He's not Jewish. Mike Huckabee is not Jewish, but he knows the Bible and the history better than many Jews, like Bernie Sanders, for instance. So, or Mr. Schumer, or all of these confused Jews who are, they have lost it. They've lost their identity. That's what we need. Strong Jewish identity. And I'm praying for the success of our soldiers, for the release of the hostages. I think that if we win, and we are going to win in Gaza, it will be a great victory, not just for Israel, but for the entire Western civilization. Because on October 7, what created this outbreak of anti-Semitism was the hope that our enemies got that they can defeat and, take back the history and destroy the state of Israel. That's the story of October 7th. They were ecstatic and wow, we can wipe out a Jewish village. We can wipe out Be'eri and Iroz. And we need to make sure that for the next 100 years, there will be a lesson. If you go and you destroy a Jewish community in the border, like Niroz, Be'eri, and murder everyone and rape the women, you take a look at Gaza and Bet Hanun now and think, was it worth it? Because I think Hamas brought a disaster upon their own people. And they are the only one who are responsible. You wanted war, you got war. And I think, Baruch Hashem, today, it's a bad idea to wage war against Am Yisrael.
Amichai Shikli, thank you very much. Baruch Hashem, thank God. Amichai
so
Shikli,
much.
thank you very much for your time, and I want to wish you a Shana Tova to you and your kids and your family. And the family of Am Yisrael. Thank you for defending us, and also fighting for us with that ultimate weapon, which is the weapon of truth, which is such a powerful thing, which you wield so well. Thank you so much for being with us. Minister Amichai Shikli is an Israeli politician. He is the Minister of Diaspora Affairs and Combating Anti-Semitism, and you see why he is in his position. All right. That was so special. That was a Rosh Hashana treat. I tell you, that was a Rosh Hashana treat. Really, that was. And I felt the blessings there. And I want to remind you that we're sending you blessings. Our war is a war of truth. It's a war to get rid of the world, help the world get rid of lies, of oppression, of slavery. I think these were all the points that Amichai Shikli talked about. All right. Don't forget that you can super chat. I want to hear from you. I want you to send the blessing to me. Let's do super chats, and let's do one last segment, friends. One last segment. It's already been, the show has been 2 hours and 41 minutes, but I still have strength for one more segment, and that's because today in the United States, remember I'm broadcasting from Israel, and this is a show about Israel, but in the United States, they are doing a big memorial for Charlie Kirk, who was murdered, and we continue to talk about Israel. Let's let Charlie Kirk talk about Israel. I found a video from 2019. Now it's the year that I got a chance to tour him in Hebron, and that's where I took some of those pictures that have gone so viral. There is a video of him talking to a Jewish group. The organization is Im Tirtzu that toured him around. Let's just do a little Charlie Kirk's own voice, not anybody else's voice. Not Candace Owens, not even Ben Shapiro. Let's listen to Charlie Kirk's voice as he talked about his time in Israel, in Jerusalem, and what he really thought about it. Let's do it.
Thank you, Matan. First of all, thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight. I just want to first say thank you to the wonderful organization, Im Tirtzu. I'm probably butchering the pronunciation. I'm going to do that all evening, so I apologize. My horrible American English accent. I was very pro-Israel before this trip, but I'm just on fire to continue to advocate for this moral and godly country, seriously. And I'll kind of walk you through the last 48 hours. It was a real eye-opening experience for me. We're going to Hebron yesterday, and I asked Matan, it's safe, right? Of course it's safe. Oh, great, it's okay. So I shouldn't wear this around the streets there. But the Western media has become so good at lying about this country. And again, I'm very, very pro-Israel. I'm an evangelical Christian. I'm a conservative. I'm a Trump supporter. I'm a Republican. All the good things. For my whole life, I have defended Israel. But even with that, I was programmed by the Western media to have certain lies programmed into my head. So, for example, we were on the hill yesterday in Hebron, and I asked, where are the tents? No, seriously. I said, where are all the refugee camps? I've been told my entire life that this city is a refugee city. And everyone laughs. There's malls, there's shopping centers. It's 97% Arab, and it was so eye-opening to actually see it firsthand, because I went in thinking it was going to be an actual refugee camp. And someone made a very good point, which is, how can you be refugees for 70 years? By definition, you're not a refugee after 2 generations. You're not fleeing anything. So anyway, that's besides the point. And it was amazing to me how, and I knew this, but it was reaffirmation how difficult the IDF has it. And I've never encountered people with such self-restraint. I mean, we had these horrible people from Breaking the Silence, is that what they're called? That get right up in the faces of the IDF soldiers. And these IDF, they're doing God's work. I really believe that. And they have such unbelievable self-restraint. And they have these maniacs with these cameras right in their face, trying to provoke them, trying to profile them. And I think to myself, if they only knew the self-restraint, if they only knew the moral conduct that the IDF operates with every day versus the terrorists of Hamas and Hezbollah. I mean, and anyone who dares make a moral equivalency between the conduct and the behavior of the IDF and Israel, which is a moral superiority. And what the Western media tries to do is they try to make it some sort of equal playing field in the conversation. That Hamas and the IDF, they're somehow both on the same playing field. No, no, no. The IDF is righteously and correctly defending the nation state of Israel, God's chosen people in the Holy Land. And the self-restraint that they go through is unbelievable. And I saw it firsthand that these maniacs were going up. That's really what they are. I mean, they have nothing better to do. They remind me of some of the protesters I deal with on college campuses in the States. We'll talk about it because there's a similarity there. And there's a kind of a warning that I want to give you because I see what's happening here. And these are just 18, 19, and 20-year-old total, we have a word for it in the States, and I don't know if it applies here, probably does. We call them patriots. They love their country. They believe in the value system. They enlisted, obviously, through mandatory service. And what's the thanks they get? They get cameras right in their face trying to expose them because they're fighting for what is correct and what is right. So that was an eye-opening experience. And then today, we had an amazing opportunity. We flew in a helicopter all the way up to the Golan Heights, which, I mean, I'm going to, for the rest of my life, and hopefully in this presidential term, advocate for the international community to recognize the Golan Heights as a true part of Israel. Because
just to remind you that this was filmed in 2019. Since then, America did recognize Israel's rights to the Golan Heights.
It is unbelievable to me that people, and this is very important to remember that, Syria will never be okay with getting that territory taken away to them, especially to Israel. And it's going to take unequivocal strength and relentlessness on behalf of Israel to make sure that that does not fall back into the hands of Syria or Hezbollah or whatever organization takes that over. And, I learned today, the 2,000-year-old synagogue remains were found there in the Golan Heights region. And, something that I'm going to use really in my advocacy in the States and the media that I do is, how could anyone be occupying their own land? Can anyone explain that to me? Because the Jews have been living in this land for thousands and thousands of years. And again, I always knew this, I always believed this, but this amazing organization and Matan and your entire team did an unbelievable job of showing that to me. It really did. And so I saw it firsthand in the Golan Heights, and I couldn't believe it. I said, what do you mean? This is not Israel. Well, they said, it's Israel. It's not Israel. It's very complicated. You know how the explanation goes. Whereas, what do the Arabs say? No, it's ours. It's like very direct, where the Israelis, back and forth. It's sort of ours. It's sort of not. No, it's yours, 100%. And then we flew down and we saw the barrier to the Gaza Strip, which was very eye-opening to me as well. And one of the biggest mistakes that Israel...
I just can't help but smiling. I just can't help but smiling because he just gets it, And it's such a pleasure to hear a man that took a tour and just gets it. He just gets it. And I just love to see this man thinking and talking, and analyzing and getting it right. It's beautiful.
Israel has made is getting out of the Gaza Strip.
What was that? Let's go back again. Sorry.
I always believed this, but this amazing organization and Matan and your entire team did an unbelievable job of showing that to me. It really did. And so I saw it firsthand in the Golan Heights, and I couldn't believe it. I said, what do you mean? This is not Israel. Well, they said it's Israel. It's not Israel. It's very complicated. You know how the explanation goes. Whereas, what do the Arabs say? No, it's ours. It's like very direct, where the Israelis, back and forth. It's sort of ours. It's sort of not. No, it's yours, 100%. And then we flew down and we saw the barrier to the Gaza Strip, which was very eye-opening to me as well. And one of the biggest mistakes that Israel has made is getting out of the Gaza Strip.
That was Charlie Kirk, 2019, telling Israel the biggest mistake that you made is leaving the Gaza Strip. In other words, there might be an October 7th coming. He saw that in 2019. Do you see the clarity of thinking and understanding? And he was absolutely right, of course.
And seeing what has happened, it's become a terrorist jacuzzi, essentially, is what it has become. It has become a terrorist jacuzzi where they are now closer than ever to fire rockets into Tel Aviv, which you see recently they're willing to do. They build terror tunnels instead of schools and hospitals. And I asked the numbers. I mean, Gaza is a small place, and they're getting billions of dollars a year. And where does that billions go? It doesn't go for schools. It doesn't go for hospitals. But it goes to build terror tunnels. It goes for missiles. It goes for rockets. And we'll get into a second of exactly who's funding this and who's behind it. We all know that. I would like to hope one day that Egypt could clean up that problem. We'll see. I'm not exactly sure they want that problem, to be perfectly honest. But it was a big mistake, and there were thousands of Jews that were living there. And here's the thing, is that the narrative war is being lost in the United States, my friends, just so you know, because I had never heard the argument that Jews were pushed out of their own houses in Gaza. We always hear that refugees. That's 5,000 Jewish refugees out of Gaza, right? 10,000, I stand corrected. 10,000 out of Gaza. That's unbelievable. They had identity in the region, identity in their homes, and they were pushed out of there. So that was just really amazing to me. And then flying, where it all kind of came together was when I was asking, our wonderful helicopter pilot, who is a hero from the first Lebanon war, amazing guy, and he was walking me through all the different zones. And I said, when will it be enough for the Arabs? Like, when will it be enough? And he said it very simply, so when all the Jews are dead. And it hit me. It said, if you do a thought exercise, a hypothetical, which is if the IDF took 10 days off, what would happen? Israel would be gone, and the Jews would be, become persecuted again. If all the Arab nations took 10 days off, no armaments, everything would remain the same. Everything. Which side is moral and which side is immoral? If Israel dared lay down their arms, this country would be under unbelievable barrage of missiles and armament. And yet, if the Arabs did, you guys, we have our land, let us keep our land, and we want peace. Only one side wants peace in this conflict. And I've heard that before. It's not like I'd never heard it, but it's very, very obvious now. And it's too bad, because I actually believe that some of the Arabs living in Gaza want some form of peace. I don't think they want Hamas anymore. I think that there's more discomfort underneath there than ever before. I think that Abbas's time is coming to an end, and thank God that President Trump is finally putting a lot of that funding in jeopardy from the West, which is phenomenal. And I'm a huge fan of economics, and when you pay for something, you usually get more of it. And I didn't know up until a couple months ago that my very good friend Sander Gerber from the United States, who is advocating for the end for the pay-for-slay legislation, which essentially was money that the Palestinian Authority would give the families of terrorists that kill Jews. So when you pay for something, you get more of something. So if you're a poor family in the West Bank and you see your wife struggling and your kids, like, I'll go kill a couple Jews they get whatever reward they think they're going to get in the afterlife. But also, your family gets a short-term monetary award. In fact, I think it lives in perpetuity for other generations. I could be mistaken there. And thank goodness that's finally being put into question. It's so unbelievable to me, what's happening in the States, and I'll walk through it kind of. There's some positives. Finally, there's a president who moved the embassy to Jerusalem, which is long, long overdue. So we thank the president for doing that. Canceled the Iran deal, which would have, honestly, you want to talk about, this is so, the worst part of the entire Iran deal was the sanction relief, because that would have given them the cash. If you think Hamas has money now, wait till the sanctions are lifted on Iran, and that money just starts flowing to these terrorist organizations. Right now, Iran is really being squeezed, and they have to kind of say, well, maybe we don't have as much money to send armaments over there, to send cash, to these terrorists. And the president canceling the Iran deal, and it was totally courageous. It was in total defiance of the entire international community. And you start to see a commonality here, that when Europe is becoming increasingly anti-Semitic, you saw a recent parade in Brussels with horrible anti-Semitic imagery. You see in the United Kingdom, which I have some wonderful friends here from the UK, you have the head of the Labour Party, Jeremy Corbyn, who I call Jew-hating Jeremy, who is he's a horrible person. And on Holocaust Remembrance Day, he lays a wreath at the feet of the Munich, the individual who killed, the Munich terrorist who killed the Israeli wrestling team. That's who he lays a wreath for on Holocaust Remembrance Day. This guy believes Hamas is a democratically elected government. He thinks sanctions should be lifted. This is who's leading the Labour government, the Labour Party in the United Kingdom. And then unfortunately, my own beloved country, America, and I'm actually in my second favorite country right now. But my favorite country, of course, being the United States, I'm so disgusted by the rise, and this is very important for everyone in this room to realize, and it's not being exaggerated by the media. There is real institutional anti-Semitism rising within the Democrat Party. Not just rising, it seems to really being revealed. And the president is doing the right thing by highlighting this. You have Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, who at the very best, she's a serious problem. And she has said some very questionable things, if at best. That's probably giving her more credit, is saying questionable. And she goes completely unchecked by the Democrat Party. And you have my fellow 20-something, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who we can get into her in a little bit, by the way. That would be far too much fun. Who says, in the brilliant stroke of historical and geographic genius, that somehow Palestine is occupying Israel. And then a reporter says, what do you mean by that? Oh, like it's kind of they're on top of each other. That was really convoluted. But it's really sad because it seems as if, the Jews are such beautiful people. They really are. And as an evangelical Christian, I have such respect for the tradition, for the culture, for the family values, for the reverence of the Jewish people. And the more time I spend around, Jews, really they want a place to be able to worship, access to the holy sites, and the ability to live their life. And it seems as if the entire international community wants to put that into jeopardy. And what I find so promising about Israel is the willingness to fight for what you hold dear. And that is a moral and righteous fight, make no mistake. To fight for your history, to fight for your land. And you are on the right side of history when you do that, make no mistake.
All right, my friends, I want to say that today, Charlie Kirk is being eulogized, memorialized in a giant stadium in Arizona. Humongous turnout, massive turnout. My good friend Jake tells me that his wife was in some parents group of some school that Charlie's kids went to, and she was struck by how concerned he was to be involved in the chat group about how to raise the children. And so you just got to see a video. You just got a chance to see a video of what he really believed, what he really said. And everybody, I let you hear it for yourself. And there's a lot more. Everybody's trying to take him and twist his words and say he believed this, he believed that. You heard it for yourself. You heard it for yourself. This is a man who recognizes what jihadism is, what Palestinianism is, the dangers of it on campus, the dangers of it on the left. He recognizes Jerusalem and the light of Jerusalem, and that he wants to be part of that. He recognizes that. He recognizes Jewish rights, historical rights in Judea and Samaria. He recognizes the importance of the Bible. And so I want to thank Hashem that I was able to find this video. And there's more of it. There's much more, actually. And maybe I'll take time to do it. In the meantime, that little bit was our memorial here from Israel for Charlie Kirk, in his own words. In his own words. And that's the thing about Charlie Kirk. He had his own words, and you could just see it for yourself. And his stand with Israel was moral, it was just, it was historical, it was biblical. And we salute him today. A warrior for truth in a very tough war, who died for that truth and died for speaking truth. And I remember him along, I have a picture in my room here of Ari Fuld, a man who broadcast the truth a lot and was also killed by terrorism. And I would like to see a picture of them together. It just came to me right now that I'd like to see them together. Somebody writes right now, rest in peace, Charlie. Yes, rest in peace, Charlie. Your fight goes on. We respect your fight. We respect your memory. And we respect your words. And we know you went down for the cause. It was obvious to everybody that you went down. And, by the way, his death was on the one hand gruesome. On the other hand, not. No, he left this world immediately, it seemed to me, as though God took him as perfectly as possible. I know that sounds a little weird, but my point is that somehow he was unblemished, kind of taken away from this world without a lot of pain, just taken immediately. And that's it. Today we honor him, and we wish his memory that it continue to give us, to inspire us, and his neshama, his soul, should have a share in the world to come. All right, my friends, we've been together for 3 hours. Lots of stuff. And I want to finish up just by blessing you with what I've been blessing you throughout the show for the whole world, which is Shana Tova, a good new year. A good new year. May the hard year that went past, and all of its pains and all of its memories may be behind us. And all those dead, may we remember them. All those murdered, killed, may we remember them. May they be a blessing for us. May their souls be advocates for us in the afterlife. May we see the victory of Israel. May we see the defeat of our enemies. May Hashem give us strength. May Hashem give us his closeness and shine his face into our life and into our homes. And may you out there find that light of Israel and Jerusalem and not succumb to the lies and the darkness. That's what I bless you for this year, to have closeness of God, to have closeness of Yerushalayim, and to defeat that darkness that wants to take this world. We shall not let it. I want to remind you that we are trying very hard to broadcast from Judea and to build up Judea and to build up Hebron and to build up Jerusalem. There are many projects that I'm involved in that are not things that I broadcast because they're behind the scenes. Please support us, because we're beautifying this land and we're strengthening it and we're opening it up. You could do that by visiting fightforisrael.org, fightforisrael.org, and support our broadcasting. And we have many more plans for tons more broadcasting. And we're going to be able to do that with your help. If you go to buymeacoffee.com/Yishai, buymeacoffee.com/Yishai. It's a very easy way to send your love blessings, your tithing, your charity, your support to the land of Israel and to our projects. You could also subscribe, like, comment, become a member of Yishai Fleischer TV. You could subscribe. That's one level. It's like the temple. There was the holy area, and then there was the Holy of Holies. So you could subscribe, that's holy, or you could become a member, that's the Holy of Holies. Or you could check out some of our merchandise. And because our merchandise is about connecting you to the land of Israel and wearing that connection. So, and to the God of Israel. So check out our merchandising, which is found at Yishai Fleischer TV on YouTube. We have a merchandising. We have a button there for the store. I want to thank my team. Without my team, I'd be nothing. My hair would go gray. Oh no, that already happened. But my team is very important to me, a very important part of the system that makes it happen. PC writes, thanks for 3 hours of your time. God bless you. Thank you. I want to thank my team, Yo and David and Nathaniel and Malka and Ben and who else? And Meira. Boy, we have a team that really pushes hard to get that broadcasting out there. So thank you very much to my team. And finally, thank you
to the supporters.
That's right. Thank you to all of our supporters. Thank you, Yo, to all of our donors and supporters. And we finish off by saying thank you, Hashem, for giving us the ability, the technology, the will, and the understanding. And hopefully you'll grant us even more understanding to bless your name. Actually, I want to, before I sign off, I want to read to you what has become my favorite verse this week. I say that because I love verses, and every week I'm like, oh, this is the most beautiful verse in the whole Bible. But I must read to you this verse at the end of the Torah portion of Nitzavim, which is in chapter, is it chapter 9, or is it a little bit after that? Angela says, build, baby, build. Absolutely, Angela. You're so right. You're so right. I just want to read to you my favorite verse for this week, which will send us into Rosh Hashanah. Oh, chapter 30, book of Deuteronomy, Lamed, Dvarim Lamed. And the last pasuk in the last verse inside the Torah portion of the Tzavim is the following. La'ava et Adonai Elohecha, to love Hashem your God, lishmoa bekolo, to hearken to his voice, uledavkabo, to cleave to him, ki hu chayecha, for he is your life, ve'orech yamecha, he is the length of your days, lashevet al ha'adama, to sit on the land, asher nishba Adonai lavotecha, which God has sworn to your forefathers, la'Avraham, li'Yitzchak, u'li'Yakov, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, latet lahem, to give it to them. I love verses, and there's just a few of them that have God, the land of Israel, and the forefathers. I know it's a thing. I look for verses that have the land, the forefathers, and God. This verse has everything. To love Hashem your God, to hearken to his voice, to cleave to him, for he is your life and the length of your days, to sit on the land, to sit on the ground, which God has sworn to give to your forefathers, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to give to them. That's what we're doing. That's the whole business here. That's what we're broadcasting. That's it. That's the thing. That's the thing that we're broadcasting. It's to love Hashem your God, to serve Hashem your God, to sit on the land, to remember the covenant with the forefathers, and to walk in their path. That's what we're doing here. That's the bit. That's why I like that verse so much. It's the whole kit and caboodle. That's what we're about here. That's it. That's what we're doing. Not more, not less. That's what we're doing. That's what we're trying to do with the help of God. With humility, we say we're trying to do it. All right, folks. God bless you wherever you are. Thanks again to all of you. May Hashem be with you. Lots of love, lots of blessings from the land of blessings. And shalom and Shana Tova. Happy New Year. Happy and blessed New Year. Shalom.